my sales team everyday invoices region wise.
Mm-hmm.
News, basically a news, no?
Got it.
North, south, west, east.
Right. Got it.
Uh,
I understand.
Shrikant, when I try to open the table, tables, it is not allowing me. It says could not find the path.
Probably, have you changed the source of the files?
Mm, okay, I got it. I just renamed it. Even that, does
The
it?
folder name.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, just a
Okay.
second.
So just take a look at my screen for now. I'll tell you what you guys can do. That is one of the classic example what Revati was explaining now. So this is what I have told in the last session. Probably if you guys can recollect it. But what does that mean? So just I hope you are able to see my screen, everyone.
Yes.
Okay. So when you open the Power BI file, I am expecting your Power BI file should look like this. Okay. And the first thing, as I told you, you will go back to the home tab, and then under the queries group, you will click on the transform data option directly. This will open the Power Query tab. So once the Power Query tab is open, so as I told you, like at any given point in time, if you guys are renaming the folder name or did changes anything or change the source or the path of the file, whatever be the case, okay? So if you guys were doing anything like that, then what you guys have to do is you will have to come back to the home tab, data sources group, data source setting. Once you click on this data source setting, here it will show what is the exact data source that you have connected to earlier. For example, here there is a path like this
Hmm.
format.
Hmm.
Now in this path, you will not see the original name of it. So what you guys have to do is you'll come back, select this file and click on the change source. That is one way. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
Unless and until you're not changing the path. But in this case, what you are saying is you just change the folder name. So
Folder name.
what I would say is if you rename this back to the original name what it was, you don't need to do everything here for all this. Once you change the folder name back to the original name what you used last week, and then click on the close and then come back and refresh, everything will automatically get refreshed at one go. It will save your effort. Else, what is going to happen? You are going to click on the data source setting, whatever the files that you have supplied, you will have to again choose the new path and then click on the close. That is when it will get aligned to the latest report. So just take a call. Which one is the better? Which will be the better way for you?
Screen. Okay. Can I share my screen once?
Yes, please.
Okay. I clicked on transform data. Now it is showing this way.
Okay. So let me read it. The data source. What does it say? Could not find a part of the path. So it was showing like desktop datasets Asia, and you are saying that this particular file is somewhere is missing. So what have you changed over there?
I just renamed it earlier. It was datasets earlier from the last weeks. What I did is I just added Power BI, prefixing Power BI to data.
So click inside that
Now
folder.
I changed it back again.
Okay. Okay. Now this is okay. Now let's go back to the Power BI file. Okay. So click on the edit settings. Okay. Just click OK and click on
Tried it.
the refresh preview on the top. Okay.
Only
Now
one table.
click on the drop down of the refresh preview.
Okay. Refresh all.
Yes. See,
I
now
think
all this is getting turned into a simple table formats. So now, which means that your data is again aligned back to the original position.
yeah. Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
So now click on the close and apply on the left hand side.
Uh, okay.
Click on close and apply.
Then
So this will take you back to the so this will take you back to the original file, and then just leave it. It will get closed automatically.
okay then.
Yeah. So let me share my screen back. All right. So rest everyone. From here onwards, let's move ahead. Misbah, I think last session
Yeah,
you have been disconnected for 20 minutes because of the weather
yes,
conditions. I
yes.
hope you were aligned back.
I tried to, but now when I opened my Power BI, I am not able to see all those options on top of my screen. So you have home, transform, add column, view tools. I can only see home, help, and table tools. That's it. I am not sure what happened. I also don't see the queries section on the left hand side that you can see. So I could you help me with that once to set up the uh, base? Is it
So
okay if
you're
I share my screen?
y- yes, please.
I'm so sorry. Um, okay, so here it is. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Miss Bhavikan.
Okay.
I think Shrikant is
O-
on mute.
okay. Shrikant, I'm not sure what I did
Yeah.
wrong while opening up or something. The file.
It looks like untitled Power BI desktop. Okay. I
Yeah.
understand. I know what is happening. Don't worry about anything. Just
Okay.
on the left hand side, do you see these options? The four options you are seeing on the left hand side panel. Wherein,
Okay. Yeah.
so go to the top one.
Okay.
Okay, looks like you are stuck only with the Zomato Asia.
Yeah.
Okay, just give me a minute. Let me know you guys were able to see my chat. I highly doubt I cannot able to send you anything on the chats for now, but you are seeing my message, right?
Yes,
Yes.
we can
Let
see.
me just check it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let me do a simple one. Let me do this for you guys. And let me know if you guys were able to, people who join the chat later, you will need permission to access the file. Select the file to edit the permissions. Okay, just see if you guys have received the file, what I have just shared.
Yeah. Day one PBIX. Okay.
Download it.
Download failed due to unexpected error.
Maybe you can try it one more time again.
Okay. It's asking me. We have to enter some
Let me try this again.
email address. SharePoint link. Yeah.
Give me a minute. Let me give it a try one more
Yeah.
time. Don't worry. Close it.
Yeah.
People currently in this chat can edit. People you chose. Let me see if you guys were able to do it. Otherwise, around what I will do, I'll change this. Um, okay, I'll send this to through an email.
Okay. But then what happened? Can I try importing the report again, the data?
You can try, but it will take a long time for you to get aligned back to us.
Okay.
The entire session will be taking time.
I don't know what happened. It was there, but today in the morning I opened and it was
Share
gone
me
from.
your share me your email ID in the chat box.
Okay.
I hope you are able to access your Gmail now.
Yeah, I can access.
Okay, give me a minute. Okay, just sent an email to you. Once you receive the email, download the file and then share your screen one more time.
Yeah. Okay, I have downloaded that. Let me just click. Okay.
All right.
Can you
Now
see my
what you
screen share? Yeah. Mhm.
yes. Now what you need to do, go to the transform data.
Okay.
No, I said click on the transform data. Do not do this every time. This is what I keep
Okay.
telling you from beginning. You guys do
Okay.
not press on the drop down wherever it is required. I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
Click on the transform data option directly.
Okay. Just click on this directly, you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
you will see an error message now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same as Revati, right? Could not
Yeah,
find
but
the part.
Revati,
Yeah.
but for Revati it is much easier, but for you it will be little time taking, but it can be done.
Okay.
So now if you look at this, all these files are having in a different source,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm sending the file from my end. So whatever the path I am using, it is. Now I want you to go to the path what you already have picked up. So if you could show me where is your file.
Sure. Where did I save it?
Okay, good. No, just pick the path from the top, Explorer.
Data sets.
Get
Okay,
inside
yeah.
this. Get
Okay.
inside this.
Mm-hmm.
Just select the path from the top.
Yeah.
Control C.
Okay.
Now go back to your PBX. Right. Uh, Close the
Mm-hmm.
untitled Power BI desktop. The first one. You don't need to have this.
Okay.
Okay. Now click on the data settings here. The data source settings under the home group data sources.
Okay. Data source settings. I'll directly click on this.
Yes. Now
Okay.
what you need to do is you
Change
will have
source.
to search. Yeah. First thing, remember very carefully that this is in an
Mm-hmm.
order like Africa, Asia, country code, currency converter. Now this is in an order. Now just keep
Okay.
watching what's happening the moment once you're updating. So click on the
Okay.
change source
Mm-hmm.
and update. No, wait.
Only from here.
Yes, update till workshop. Just select till workshop, Control V. That's it. Now
Okay.
click on OK. See, the moment once you do it, what you will notice, the Africa file, the set went down.
Yeah.
And also you will notice that on the left hand side queries group, it detected the table format. On the left hand side queries part, you can see, and apart from Africa, everything is still with the critical symbol,
Yes. Correct.
which means the path got detected and it is aligning.
Okay.
Now you select the Asia, click on the change source, do the
Okay.
same thing what you guys have, what you did right now. And
Okay. Now
if you,
Asia is now fixed.
yeah, and also what you could notice that it is going in a chronological order and it is going down.
Correct.
So when you have more number of files like this and then you have to update it, this is how you will have to update it. So basically what this exercise, what I'm trying to tell you guys, everyone,
Mm.
let's say if there are two people and you both are working and then you want to share the file for each other and wanted to align to a latest file, then you will share the file and then the other person who received the file have to do this kind of exercise.
Okay.
This will
This
allow
is
them.
good learning. Mm.
Yes, this will allow you to, and I mean this will allow the other person to get aligned to the latest report that you guys have created and prepared. You will come across this kind of problem very basically from everyone. If you guys are aligned to a single folder, which is a kind of a shared folder between you both, then you don't need to have this kind of problem. See, now you
Okay.
could
I think
see
that
everything is aligned properly.
only Zomato Sam. Okay. That is
No, that
also
will also,
aligned.
yeah,
Done.
everything
Done.
will
Yeah.
get
Okay.
automatically updated. So
Okay.
now click on the close
Okay.
and allow the refresh preview. Click on the refresh preview. Okay, home tab, query group, refresh preview, drop down.
Refresh preview drop down. Okay.
Click on refresh all.
Super.
And that's it. You will be aligned right now.
Okay. And this day one file is now saved in my, where is that PBIX file saved?
It's simple. You have
Able to
downloaded in your it is there in your downloads. That is what I understand.
okay, so it'll stay in my downloads.
Yes.
Okay. But then I aligned it to these Excel files that are already there on my machine, right?
OneDrive on your OneDrive.
One. Okay. Yeah.
It will take around a few minutes because you are aligning to your OneDrive location. So it depends upon your internet activity and everything, but it will get
Okay.
aligned. See, till the time you are seeing the table symbol over there, which means on the queries part, which means that you are
Mm,
properly aligned. So there is no doubt about
awesome.
it.
Okay.
It's just that it will take a bit of time
Okay. And I can see other queries. I can see Ria and Lakshmi. From where have
because
these come?
I
Mm-hmm.
created this. You are using my
Okay.
file.
Okay, that is why.
Now you
Yeah,
see
it's
everywhere,
done.
everywhere you are aligned. Now click on the
Yes.
gently click on the close and apply, which is there on
Close
the
and
left hand home tab, close group, the close and apply. The very left hand side, the
okay.
first option. Just
Close
click
and
on close and
apply.
apply. So yeah, you don't need to click cancel or do anything or close. It will automatically get closed. So just wait for a minute. Meanwhile, I hope Kashi and Prashant, you guys doesn't have any problem, right?
No,
Yes,
sir.
Srikant. It is
Okay,
working fine. Yes.
perfect, perfect.
I think maybe my laptop switched off abruptly that day because of the power cut. What happened?
Yeah, I think you didn't
I
save the
don't know.
file. That is what I
I
understand.
did not. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah.
No, even I have to say because I didn't tell you guys to save the file in the last class. I should have told.
Okay. So I think everything got applied and saved. What to do next?
Um, no, just click on the report view and then keep it as, I mean, keep it there.
Okay. Okay, this should be it then, Srikant.
Yes, now you
The
are
view.
aligned with us.
Okay, great. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So let me share my screen back. All right. So now what you guys are looking at on the screen right now is the Power BI path. Okay. So last week we have worked on the Power Query, wherein we have built or brought in different data information from one location or from your local machine, and then we supplied it to the Power BI file, and that is how the Power BI file right now is prepared for ready for the execution part. So friends, I would request everyone keep a concentration again from here onwards. Like everything is crucial to understand. Now I would literally tell this way, this entire training session what I'm going to cover for you guys is basically I'm going to cover all the basic parts of what exactly is a Power BI part, all the basics. Okay, so when I say basics, each and every option that you guys have here now, because after the session is completed, you guys might be in a good position to create a report, but at the same time, if in case you wanted to do something or explore for yourself, I don't want you guys to fumble around like where should I go, what should I go. So for that reason, I'll give you the entire basics part. So that will be much easier for you to explore for yourself. Let's see, even if you try with a Google or Chat GPT or anything, that will boost up your energy to make you understand where you can actually take it forward. So remember from this part, this is much more crucial. Okay. So let's look at the Power BI path. So this is the front end part, what you guys are looking at. Okay, basically, last time what we have done is when I click on the transform data, this will take you to the Power Query screen. After you are build all your data and then you feel that this is ready for your execution and ready to go ahead with, all you need to do is you will have to go to the home tab, close group, and click on the close and apply. You don't need to use the drop down, just click on the close and apply. So once you click on the close and apply, any changes that you have done to your queries. For example, at this point in time, if I did some change on the one of the file, and when I click on the close and apply, it doesn't refresh all the tables because it found only the Asia file might have been updated and it will only refresh that. Okay. So, and you don't need to click on that pop-up window to close. It will automatically get aligned. But all you will have to do is once your file is ready, I would request everyone to just save the file in between while you're working, like using Control S. That's more than enough. Now let's look at the portion. Like, like, like an Excel spreadsheet, like an MS Excel spreadsheet that you guys are working. Power BI have few portions that you need to understand. This place at the down, what you are seeing, this is called the page one. So in Excel file, you would be looking at sheet one, but in Power BI, you'll be looking at page one, page two, page three. You can create more number of pages. So there is no doubt about it. Like you can create 1,000 pages as well. There is no limitation for that, but you can rename this as well. You can rename this page to any name that you like, which we will do it in a later stage. The second portion, like in the Power Query, on the left hand side where you can see the queries, these are called the different views. What are these views? One is called the report view, another is the table view, third is the data model view, fourth one is the DAX view. So I'll touch base every view in a later stage whenever it is required. So first I will touch base on the model view. Um, this training session also covers your basic mathematics to just to remember what I'm talking so that you will able to understand. How many of you really remember your basic mathematics like from your fourth class to seventh class? I mean, I'm not talking about additions or subtractions. Other than that, do you guys remember anything?
Like what we had: addition, division, multiplication,
Yeah, apart from that, anything else? Algebra,
algebra. You mean trigonometry or something?
mix of everything. Anyways, how many of you remember the Venn diagrams?
Yes, remember the sets. Yes, Venn diagram.
Uh, there is nothing to do that Venn diagram with this portion right now, but I'll just give you what exactly I'm talking about. Now, this is, I'll touch base such kind of points in between when I'm talking. Now, a simple question. Let me ask this in a straight case. Apart from the Power BI, I don't know how many of you are into different technologies for now as of today, but
Mm.
if you are one of the person who works on data tables, like either it could be in an Oracle, either it could be an SQL, either it could be in somewhere else. If you are one of that person who works on the data tables and work with the tables, basically there is something what we call it as a relationship between the tables. If you're one of them, do you remember like what exactly is the relationship between tables? How many relationships are there and what kind of relationships are it is? Anyone, just give it a try if you want.
Is it one to one to many? Is it like this?
Yes, you're right.
Matching data in both the tables.
Right. Now, first today let's talk about it. Then we'll talk about the remaining portion of the Power BI part. The first option. There are four different relationships in any given application. Either you take an SQL, either you take an Oracle, either you take SAP, either you take any other application. Basically, wherever you have a tables and you're creating a relationship between two different tables, they're defined by four different relationships. I'll put it on the chat window. So one is called one-to-one relationship. Okay. Another is called one-to-many relationship. Another one is called many-to-one relationship. And the last one you have many-to-many relationship. Okay. Now, if you guys are aware of this kind of relationships, what I'm talking about, can you guys give me an example? Like, what do you mean by one-to-one relationship? Of course, I will explain it, but just wanted to understand, curious if you guys are aware of.
Yeah, so when the data, each item in each table appears only once.
Good. In a simple way, when each item in one table appears only once and you're creating a relationship between both the tables, then it is called a one-to-one relationship. And yes, Prashant, employee code with the name. Now, the relationship cannot be defined based upon one single table. It is defined between what is the relationship between given two tables. So in this case, just think and tell me, according to you, what is a one-to-one relationship? According to that, what is an example between two given tables here? Meanwhile, let me prepare for myself to put it in a simple table format. So I'll open one blank Excel and then I'll put it here and then I'll show it. So you might think like, why am I stretching so much on this? But this is much important for you to decode any uh, table, or let's say any report that it has been given to you. You will have all this in mind. So once you are aware of this, it becomes very, I mean, it becomes very easy for you to understand how the uh, entire report is built. So I'll just mention it here like this. These are the four relationships I'm talking about. Okay. One to one, one to many to one, many to many. Okay. And now what I will do is I'll write like this: Asia, Africa, Oceania, and then NAM, SAM, and then Europe. And you also have append one table, which is the append of all the tables. Then what else you have? Country master. Then what else you have? Currency converter. Then what is the other table you have got? KPIs table.
KPIs. Yeah.
KPIs. And now the same tables, I'm going to put it in a transpose format. Okay. See, this is what I have done. Okay. And I'll just remove this for a minute. And I'll mention the same thing on the top to make you understand what I'm talking about. So that space thoda bachega. So I'll keep this in this way and I'll keep this in a different color and just using the alignments. Okay. Let me keep it a little bit here like this. Now let's look at this one. Employee code table in this field is department code. Department is in another table. Okay. Let's look at this one, Prashant and all the others. Let's look at that. Can you define what could be a relationship between Asia table to Asia table? For instance, just imagine there are two Asia tables. If there are two Asia tables, what is the connectivity between both the tables and what kind of relationship it could be?
1 to 1.
Justification?
Both have matching data. Asia table, Asia table.
That is not the justification. I want to tell you why you think it is a one-to-one relationship and what is the exact um, column that you are referring to. So that gives me a proper justification so that it will be easy for you to understand.
If Asia appears only once in each table,
Mhm. Which column I'm talking, you're asking, I mean, you're talking about. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think restaurant ID and country code will be the
yeah,
IDs.
Very good. So when I'm talking about it, so just watch the screen. What am I doing? In Asia table, let's say only specifically we are talking about the Asia, you can see there are restaurant IDs. And what is the total count you have got? 8,849. Now, all these 8,849 rows are having the restaurant ID, which is unique in nature. They are not duplicated, right?
correct.
So if I am connecting this one Asia file to another Asia table, like the same thing that I can connect with using restaurant ID. When I say connectivity, if I want to do a VLOOKUP between two Asia tables, I can use the restaurant ID as the unique identifier, correct?
Yes,
And this unique identifier is always a unique option. So all these tables are unique in nature. So between Asia to Asia, it becomes a one-to-one relationship because you are connecting on the left-hand side. Let's say the first Asia table, which is having 8,849 unique restaurant IDs, are connected to 8,849 unique restaurants in the another Asia table. Okay. So this is based upon the restaurant ID. And is it Prashant or Kashi who gave me an answer like the country code? Don't
Sorry,
take anything. No, someone gave me a country code option as well. Who?
Prashant.
in myself only.
Okay. Now my question to you, Prashant, just to understand, if you are aligning the country code from the Asia table to another Asia table country code, what do you think is the relationship becomes?
Another Asia table means I didn't get a proper question. Sir. See, Asia, if I open this Asia Excel sheet, I see there are restaurant ID, country code, city name, address, and correct? Those data are available.
Correct.
Now, one is the restaurant ID, which is a unique side into that.
Correct.
The another one is a country code. Now, the
Huh,
country code will have
hmm.
to connect with country master based on the country code.
My question is not that. My question is, I'm talking about there is a Zomato Asia file here, right?
Yeah.
Imagine I have duplicated another Asia file like this.
Okay.
Imagine I have duplicated another Asia file. Then if I'm connecting between that Asia file and the duplicate Asia file or the table without having the restaurant ID and going alone with the country code, then what kind of relationship will it be?
Without restaurant ID, correct?
Yes, only the country code.
Sir, it will be many to many.
Perfect. That is what I just wanted to understand. Because when you gave me an answer, I want you to understand very clearly, like based on what you are talking about. So because this will provoke your understanding about like if I'm going with another identifier, what will be, right? So the same example, if I'm talking about between Asia to Asia, or now let's say between Asia to Africa, can I have a connectivity? Can I connect the lines from Asia to Africa file? On the first node, can I do a connectivity
I think
using
yes,
any
sir.
identifier?
Yeah, I think yes.
Okay, if it is yes, then what kind of unique identifier I have to use?
Asia to Africa, correct, sir?
Yes.
I think restaurant ID.
Restaurant ID.
Okay, let's look at this one. When there are unique identifiers in Asia, when there are unique identifiers in Africa, but in between both of them, if nothing is matching, then
Yeah.
how there will be a connectivity?
It will not be a connection then, sir. If we need to
Exactly,
create the matching IDs between these two files, we need
exactly.
to identify the field and then connect between.
You're right. So that is what I just wanted to let you know. So between Asia and Africa, you can't create a connectivity. Similarly, between Asia and Oceania, you can't do. Between NAM and SAM, you can't do anything. But where it will be, this is how it looks like. Now, do you agree this portion what I have said right now?
Yes.
Now, give me an example. If I am creating a connectivity between Asia file to an append one file, what will be the connectivity? What kind of relationship is it? And then which unique identifier you are going to use it? You remember the merge queries activity we have done? I'm talking about the merge query. While you're doing the merge query in append one, you're taking the values from Asia or append query. So, in this case, it's an append query, not merge query. So when you're appending all this information into append one table, what is the connectivity between Asia and append one and which column that you're relying on?
One to one maybe.
Good. It's a one-to-one. And what is the unique identifier?
Uh, yeah, RID.
Restaurant
Which
ID.
is
Yeah.
the restaurant ID. Now I'll use the same thing for all these
For all the
continents
continents.
Yeah.
because you are taking XYZ information from Asia, ABC from Africa, you are doing CDE from Oceania. What will happen? All these are going and sitting under append one, but it is also creating a unique ID over here, which is a mix of data from different continents. So that
Yeah.
is called one-to-one relationship and using the restaurant ID. Is there a connectivity between append one and append one? Yes. Again, it is the same
Yes.
thing. Then again, is there a connectivity between country master and append one?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in this case, what will be the unique identifier between country master and append one?
Country code.
Country code. But again, look at this way. I'm talking about country master to append one. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
Remember the wordings very clearly. Country master to append one. What you guys are saying, it's a one-to-one relationship using the country code. Now tell me, currency converter to append one. What kind of relationship is it?
One to many.
You're talking one to many, but is
I
it using what kind of identifier?
Currency.
change currency.
Currency.
Only currency?
Country code also.
Let's look at this one.
Continent.
Okay.
When I look at the USD converter file,
Hmm.
all these you are connecting to append one table. When you are doing this to the append one table, were you only relying on the currency?
No, continent and
Continent also.
So
Continent.
your continent and currency. So you're literally creating a connectivity between both and then doing it, correct?
yeah.
But here in this case, it becomes a many to,
Many.
what will be the other one? Many to many. You're good. So
Yes.
here we are using country code and
And
currency.
Currency.
KPI table to append one. What is the relationship you think?
many to one.
KPI, you are doing it to append one table. What becomes the
Rest.
relationship?
1 to 1 again. Yeah. Restaurant only.
That's good.
Restaurant ID 1 to 1.
That's pretty good. Is there a connectivity between Asia to country master?
Yes.
What is the connectivity? See, this is a Asia file and you are connecting through the country code to the country master. What kind of relationship it becomes?
1 to 1.
Okay,
1 to 1
how?
on country code.
In country code, what are the values you are seeing? Is it duplicated or is it unique?
Duplicated.
Duplicate.
Whenever it is a duplicate, what kind of relationship it becomes? It will start with many, not one.
Many.
Because the same one value is not repeated once, it is repeated more number of times. But in the country master, if you look at this, here, how many times one is repeated?
1 times. 1 times.
When you are
Many.
Mm.
connecting, so what does it become now?
One to
Many to 1.
many.
From
Not
No.
many,
Asia to
many to
Asia to country master. Asia to country master, what will be the relationship?
Many to 1.
Many
many
to
to
one.
1.
Very good. Via country code.
Yes.
Similarly, it becomes the same thing for all the continents to the country master. If at all, if I want to connect the append one table to country master, what kind of relationship it becomes?
Many to many.
Many to one.
Yeah. Many to 1 on country
Yeah,
code.
yeah. Got
When
it. Got
this
it.
kind of relationship, it is the same thing, it will also maintain the same relationship with the other continents as well, right?
Okay.
I'll give you this table to read for you just to take a glance, because this is how you have to read your own data.
Hmm.
Got it? So the
Yeah.
country master to country master becomes 1 to 1,
1 to 1.
because a country master to a country master, matlab, when you're trying to connect this table with the same table back again, obviously it becomes always a 1 to 1.
1 to 1.
It never and ever becomes one to many or many to one or many to many. Never. It will always become 1 to 1. Remember this very clearly, based on the data that you are using the unique identifier. Similarly, currency convert to country master, is there any kind of relationship? Yes, there is a relationship. However, for now, sorry, there will not be a relationship, because when I go to the currency converter, there is no data. However, when I go back to the country master, what will happen? The continent, if you remember in the country master, you doesn't have anything identifier,
Hmm.
and in the unique identifier, you doesn't have anything to talk about it. So absolutely, there is no relationship at all. So you don't need to really worry about it. When I go to the KPIs, between the KPI to the country master, between the KPI to country master, is there any kind of a relationship?
Country.
Basically, there is no, because in KPI, you doesn't have a country at all.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Understood?
Hmm. Hmm.
So this is how it is identified. Now I'll tell you one more portion, just as an example. There are, let's say, emp ID and there is a emp name. Every one of you think and give me an answer. Okay. So there is a table like this. There is a table in one of the sheet like this. Okay. And I'm going to create the same thing in another sheet like this. And here I'm just mentioning 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. And then I'm using F G, H, I, J. Now these are two different tables. Let's imagine. I created one pivot table from this sheet and I created another pivot table from this sheet. Will there be any connectivity between both the sheets or both the pivot tables? I'll literally give you this example. If I'm creating a pivot table out of it, I created a pivot table like this. Okay. And similar activity I did for the sheet 3 as well. Now my question is, if I bring a slicer for this, let's say an employee ID, if I'm bringing a slicer, okay. Now when I click on the slicer, will this pivot table will work? And similarly, will the other pivot table also work? Let's say I'm creating another pivot table over here. And then I will say, you create another pivot table here. So now these are two different pivot tables I created, correct? From two different data tables from two different sheets. But I brought a slicer for one particular pivot table. When I click on this pivot table, both the pivot tables are actually actioning or only one is actioning?
Only one.
Only one.
Why? Why?
Yeah. It's connected only to
They are
the
not first
one.
one.
There, yes. There's no connection
Basically,
between the second one.
yeah, basically you are creating a pivot table from one data source, you are creating another pivot table from another data source.
Yes.
However, there is no connectivity between both the pivot tables, at least to make a connection. That is the first thing. Second part, they are having two different data sets. So when I bring a slicer, it doesn't work for both the tables, correct?
Yes.
Let's say if I'm having the same thing over here, or let's say I'm using another pivot table over here. See this. Watch what I'm doing very clearly. I'm creating another pivot table in the same existing sheet somewhere here and click on OK. And this time I'm going to bring the employee ID, employee name. This is just a tiny example. So, but understand what I'm doing. Now you think when I slice this data, this is only still appearing on one particular pivot table. What I will do is I'll right click on the slicer. I'll click on report connection and I will choose another pivot table, which is 3, that is this particular table. Now, when I click on any one of the data, are both the pivot tables are actually getting sliced?
Yes.
Reason being, we are creating two different pivot tables from a single data source, hailing from a same location, and we are trying to create a slicer and create a connectivity between both the tables. So when I choose this or slice the data, it is actually doing the slicing for both the tables. Correct?
Yeah. Yes.
So what do you infer with this activity?
We can make connection between the tables and then manipulate the data.
What you can do is you can only control two or more tables which are hailing from the same data
The
source,
data
and
source.
you can use a slicer, but you cannot control the two different pivot tables hailing from two different sources, and you are creating a slicer from one of the table. It cannot control both the pivot tables because they hail from two different tables. And of course, yes, there is no relationship. Now,
Mm.
the reason why I'm asking, showing this activity in Power BI, the concept will remain the same, provided there is no relationship between. For example, if I'm having the same level of the data in the other pivot table, for example, just see this, what am I doing? And now I'm just going to refresh this table because I just updated this. Now, do you see both the numbers are the same? However, when I select it, is it able to still doing it? No. But this is what it will happen when you create a relationship, any kind of a relationship, either it is on one to one or one to many or many to one or many to many. when you're doing this kind of relationship here in the Power BI, even this table can be controlled because you are creating a connectivity between this table and the other table from another source, and you are using a slicer, it can still control. I know this concept will take a bit of time for you to digest, but this is how the Power BI will actually work. Now we are going back onto the Power BI and I'll show you what I mean. If you go back to the model view, everyone, if you go back to the model view, everyone, and then just minimize everything and then just see this place, you will see, first thing you will see a set of tables. What I want you to do is to click on the model view and then hide these two properties here, select one of the pivot table and just type Control A.
Oh, sorry, Shrikant, can you repeat?
Go to the Power BI and then click
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
model view.
yeah,
Once you click on the model view, you will see hide the properties so that you will see a more space.
yeah.
Select one of the table, select any one of the table and then
Okay,
just type Control A. This will minimize and then show you what are the available tables that are on the model.
okay, done. Yeah,
Correct?
yes, yes.
Now you don't need to do anything on your screen, just watch my screen. So what am I doing is I'm just going to increase this for a minute and I'll arrange it like this. I'm able to look at this one. This is Zomato Nam and this is Zomato Sam. And then let's say this is Zomato Oceania and then Zomato Asia is there. Zomato Africa is also there. And then we have Zomato Europe. Okay. Now these are all your input files. Okay. I'll show you everything in a simple way. Uh, oh, my mouse is not working sometimes. Okay. Now these are all the different files. Now let me bring in the append one in between. This is the append one. And there is also a country master. And there is a USD converter. And then there is a KPI. Okay. I created a model like this now. Okay. Now see, I'm expanding this model a little bit. You don't need to specifically do anything on your screen. Just watch the screen because this is there is nothing that you guys have to do anything on your files. It is since it has already been built. Now see what is happening. The first activity what you have done, if you remember on the Power Query, when I click on the Power Query, the first thing you have created the Asia file. After you created the Asia file, you created a continent column. Similarly, you did the same activity for all the regions by loading the file and then you are creating a co continent column in between all the tables. After that, what you have done, you created an appendment table by appending all this data into one particular table, right? Now let me go back to the Excel file and then say between append one table to any of the continent, what is the relationship? It is 1-to-1 using the restaurant ID. Now see this from Zomato Asia, to append one table. If you look at these lines over here, if you look at the lines over here, when I hover the mouse, there is something called 1, right? It started from Asia file. There is something called 1, and this line is actually going, and then somewhere it is highlighting it onto the append one table. Or between append one table or the Asia, Zomato Asia, you can see, yeah, this dotted line here. This dotted line is going from Zomato Asia to append one table. And you see from the start beginning it is 1 and at the end it is also ending at 1. And if I hover the mouse on this one, right, it is actually showing the restaurant name address is actually being updated, right? Which means the possible connection between the Asia and to append1 table can be a restaurant name address or a restaurant ID, whatever be the case. But then why is it showing in a dotted line? Because the relationship is not active.
Okay.
But in fact, what you guys have done, you didn't do any model like this. What you have done is you have loaded your data files and then you created an append1 table using the append1 query and everything you are doing on the Power Query. But when you bring this back onto the Power BI is automatically identifying what exactly you guys have done. Just showing you. It is also showing what are the possible connectivities. Wherever it is showing the dotted line, these are called the possible connectivity. Wherever there is a solid line, it is showing that it is a create connection which has already been created. For example, if I go back from here and then see, it is showing many. What is this many? Where it is actually going? Star ka matlab hai many. So country code, it started with country code in the Asia file and it started a relationship called many, and then it went down and it connected back to the country master. Now, if I go back to my Excel file and then see from Asia to country master, what is the relationship we identified?
Many to one.
Now, does it prove here that this is coming from many to one?
Yes.
Similarly, if you take from Africa to country master, this is many to one, correct?
Hmm.
See this. This is from Africa. Okay. Now this is a line. Okay. So this possible relationship is many to one. It is actually highlighting. This is
Yeah.
not active, but this is saying yes, this is many to one.
Yes.
Let's say from currency converter to append1 table, we identified that to many, correct? So
Yeah.
let's say currency converter, where is it? This is a USD converter. And to append1 table, does it actually created any relationship here?
No.
It is not creating because it has got multiple columns in two different values we are clubbing. That is the reason why it is not actually showing you the many to many relationship. But if I'll prove it, how it will work in. If you didn't see any kind of active relationship and you want to create, for instance, now see this. This is the place where I will go and click on the manage relationship. Now it is already showing you what is the current relationship. For example, the same dotted lines and the solid lines. For any layman person to look at this, it will be like a confusion, right? It's a zigzag puzzle for everyone. If you want to understand what kind of relationships are given actually, this is a place where you will go to the manage relationship. When you click on the manage relationship box, you will see from table, which is which table to which table. See this append one table using the country code to country master country code. What is the relationship? Many to one. Let's look at the same thing on my Excel sheet as well. Append one to country master. This is many to one, correct? Using the country code. Does it prove here?
Yeah.
Now you understand what is this exercise of Excel, what I have done, and then can you correlate? Let's say append one to KPIs. It's a restaurant ID. Using that, it is showing one to one. Append one to KPI. Of course, yes, we haven't built anything over here, but append one to KPI, this becomes a one-to-one relationship using the restaurant ID. See Zomato Africa to country master. Did we do this? Country master, right? Using the country code. Many to one. Does it prove the relationship back again here? So these are called cardinalities. These are called cardinality, technical term. So you don't need to remember and then talk to the people about it. But when you say professionally, when you talk about the people, instead of saying the relationships, what we call this is called the cardinality in Power BI. Okay. So how the cardinality is being built. Cardinality is nothing but what kind of relationship you are defining. This is what it is. Now, as I told you, when I create a kind of a new relationship, I'll say from table. What is a from table? I'm taking an example for this portion. Let's say I'm going with the country master and append one. I'm clicking the country master and then I'll say the append one table. It automatically identified that there is a country to country and it is showing the one to many relationship. But what we wanted to do is to cost center in the current country. Sorry, I'm selecting a wrong one. USD converted to append one table. So there is a continent over here and let's say uh, there is a continent which is region over here. Now, does it say many to many relationship? But again, if you look at this, it says the relationship has cardinality many to many. This should be only used if it is expected. Neither the column and country, continent and region. Anyways, because they are having both are having both. But if I select the currency and the currency here, if I try to select it this way here, when I try to build the relationship, it doesn't accept because it can accept only through one particular column. It cannot accept with multiple columns like how we did in the merge query. This is just for your understanding. However be the case, it becomes a many to many relationship, no matter what. Okay. So this is what, when someone asks you like, what kind of relationships or what kind of cardinalities that you can bring in, this is where you can actually come back and show. So basically, I'm trying to tell you, you actually don't need to build this entire relationship. The moment once you are doing using the merge query and append query, the relationships are automatically built in. If in case you feel that the relation is missing, but still you want to make sure the data should be sliced between both the two tables, then you will come back to this place and then create a relationship like forcefully that I need a new relationship you need to identify, and you will have to come back to the manage relationship and then build a new relation. Otherwise around this concept, truly and honestly, you don't need to really worry about it. Very much you don't need to really worry about it because this will automatically do the job from the back end the moment once you are loading the tables. That this is only for you to understand what do you mean by cardinality in any Power BI. Because let's say if you're trying to give a interview, you want to talk about someone ask you any kind of a question, you need to have that subject in mind. What do you mean by the model view and what exactly the cardinality will be helpful for it? Okay. I said it might take a time for you to digest, but eventually when you start working on that, you will know. I will also tell you in between giving you the examples like this is what I have spoken in the cardinality or the relationship or the model view. That's when you will able to connect more to your dots. Clear? Any questions? Prashant, why for questions or why for clear? Okay, good. Misbah, Revati, you guys are good?
Yes. So when you
Yes.
were trying to forcefully have a relationship between the USD converter and the append one table, it was giving a warning also, right? At the end
Yes,
that
but it doesn't affect anything, but it just gives you the
anything.
warning. This is what it is about.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is on the model view. Now let's talk about the table view. In the table view, what you will see here, there is nothing that you guys have to do on the table view, but I'll also let you know where you will actually get into the table view and then utilize this. But on the first note, what you need to understand, whatever the queries that you have loaded back from your Power Query back onto the table view, here you will identify one thing. Unlike in the Power Query, you're not you're seeing the entire information whatever you have at one go. For example, in append one table, there are about 9,550 rows of information. Now you are able to see all this information at one go. In Power Query, you remember that your profile is column based upon top 1000 rows, top 9,000 rows, something like that. Unlike in the Power Query, it will expand all your information and show here. So this way, this is something like a kind of an Excel spreadsheet. So here I can filter, and then let's say if I want to filter out for a particular city, I can go and filter out the data. But then this is just like an Excel spreadsheet. Got it? This is just like an Excel spreadsheet. So you can filter out your information over here like this and click on OK. You will able to see your information. This is just like a spreadsheet. But if you are filtering your data, your visuals will also be filtered. So this is connected to your visuals directly. Okay. So what I want you to just understand is, even in your pivot table, for instance, even in the pivot table here, you see, I'm clearing the filter over here. If I'm going and filter for an employee name A, okay, you can see, okay, not this one. If I'm going and filtering my information to any one of the data over here, your pivot table will also be instantly filtered because I'm using only this portion in general, because we have a less data in the total number of rows, so it's okay. But in general, this will actually affect your visuals as well. Similarly, here, whatever you are doing will actually affect your visual part. So this is just for your information. That is going to do nothing. However, as I told you, you will see the actual usage of this in another few more minutes. You will actually see the usage of the table view as well. Then you will get to have an understanding what I'm talking. Now, let's talk about the report view. Prashant, you have a question or something you want to type? I know you're typing something. Can be used as a data validation relationship built properly or not? You can use it just like in an Excel spreadsheet. You can actually use it the same way. So you can see your data. So now let's step into the interesting portion of your Power BI, what you are actually looking out for this particular training. So report view. Report view is a place where you are going to build all your visuals. Okay. And this portion, what you're looking out here, where it says build your visuals with your data, this is called canvas. Okay, this is called canvas. So I will start using this terminologies moving forward with a simple ways. So a canvas is a place where you are going to build all your visuals, and you will able to filter, view your data, show your data in a visual portion. And below this, as I told you, this is the page one. It's something like the same sheet one in Excel sheet. In report, you will see these are called the pages. And on the right hand side of the canvas, by default, you will see the filter options. By default, you will see a visualizations. By default, you will see a data. These are the three things you will see. If you want to have your canvas look much more bigger, you just need to collapse this. The moment once you collapse, you will be able to see your canvas little bigger. Okay, but don't worry, your data visualization, everything will not be affected. It's just that you're giving more extra space to see your visual part. And then you're going to follow whatever I have spoken in the Power Query, like home tab, data group, options, right? Whatever the option I'm going to tell you, you will have to follow the same technique here. So keep a watch on that. Now let's start building the visuals first with that. So you will have more understanding about what exactly this canvas will be used. From here onwards, as I told you, again, keep more and more concentration, keep more and more, um, keep yourself active on this, because if you miss out one option, you will again have to figure it out, like, how did you do this? Where did you do this? So first watch on the screen, then you execute it. I'll give you time. No problem. But I want everyone to have a perfect hands-on experience on this. Otherwise, you will get lost. So let's start with uh, every tiny detail information here. I'm going to talk about certain things I'll eliminate because which is of not required, but then I'll touch base the places where it is really important. How many of you have created chart or pivot charts in Excel? I hope everyone would have created, right? Good. And I strongly believe that you guys are like masters in creating a charts and then know on the no needly need to know basis, like if I want to change the color of the legends or charts, I'm definitely damn sure you guys are like masters on that. You might be using the same thing for years together. So here, whatever the questions are there while you're building a chart in Excel, you will have something like, if I want to do the change for this, how do I do? I'm going to cover all those topics. So any question you think that I'm leaving behind, you guys let me know so that I'll give you a refresh on that. So let's go with the visuals first. I will collapse this filters part and I'll keep my visuals and data. Visualizations under this is a place where you're going to choose what visual will be suited to your database and want to actually show it to your people. Okay, this is a place where you are going to explore and then create your visual part and then give a glance to your audience for whom you are going to prepare the report. So you'll pick your visuals here and then you will work on that. The next one, whatever you have built on the Power Query, the tables that you have loaded, like the queries and everything loaded, once after you click on the close and apply, everything will come and sit under the data portion here. Now, on the data portion, I'll also show you how easy is it for you to create it. Let's go with interesting visual first. Now, I'm going to, since I have created one append one table by collating all this information from all over from here to append one table, my entire report will be created on based on one single table, which is called the append one. So I would request everyone to go first and click on the drop down of the append one to see whatever the columns we are having, and we'll talk about these columns more. Out of all this, there is one particular portion which is called the country. There is country code and there is country. Let's say if you are having numerous columns over here and you are unable to locate the one what I'm talking, there is an option here called the search. Even if I go and click on the search and then type slowly like country, this will filter what this particular name country is appearing as a header name in how many particular tables. It will filter out everything. But since I want to have only from the append one table, I'm going to choose the data from the append one. Now there is a basic behavior of the Power BI, basic behavior. What is the basic behavior I'm talking about? When you are loading the data from, or when you are bringing the data called the country from your data set onto the canvas, whenever it is a country column, okay, if the names are really aligned, for example, when you type India, when you have a data value called India here, India in the Google map or in the Microsoft Bing, that name is properly identified. So what it will do, it will eventually convert that into a map visual. Now see this, what am I doing? I filtered for the country and then looking out for the country from the append one table, and I slowly drag this and drop it onto the canvas. The moment once I drag and drop it onto the canvas, what you are visualizing is there is a map which is automatically created like this. There is a map which is created, right? So just give a try on your systems and do the same thing. Filter for the country, bring the country column from the append one and slowly drag and drop it onto the canvas. You should see a map which is created like this. Let me know how many of you guys are able to do this and then see the map. If by any chance you are unable to, if you are by any chance you are unable to see the map coming onto this instead of map, if it is showing an error for you, do you guys see any error, or is it showing the map for everyone?
Showing the map.
Perfect.
My side there is error.
See, you guys are keeping silent, then how will I know?
Yeah.
This is what I'm expecting from you guys, to open your mouth and then tell me, like, Lakshmi, I'm having a problem here. See this. I'm removing the visual over here. Okay. For you guys, where you have an error, remove that first. Okay. Remove the visual first. After which, follow the steps. Go to the file option. Click on the file option here before the home tab. Click on the file tab. Once you click on the file tab, you will see at the bottom there is something called options and settings. So click on the options and setting. Here you will see again data source settings and options. Click on the options again one more time. This will open a new panel for you like this. Let me know you guys were able to see this on your screens. Then under the settings, you will see an option called security. Click on the security. And once you click on the security on your right hand side, if you scroll down a little bit, okay, if you scroll down a little bit, you will see an option called map and field map visuals. This would have been unchecked in your systems.
Yes. Done.
So check that option and then click on OK and then come back. And now re-attempt to bring the country back onto the canvas and load it. So this will again bring you the country map back onto your portion. Great. So if you on the first note, if you are unable to see the error, nothing to panic. First go back, remove the visual, go fix that issue, come back and then reload the visual. It will automatically work for you. At times, you might see this not working. At times, do not worry. It could be because of the internet connectivity issue. Basically, it's because of the internet connectivity issue, but it will automatically get set right. But this is how you will have to debug if it isn't working. Okay, now let's talk more about the country visuals part. Now, what you will notice is there are blue dots coming up everywhere. I hope you guys were able to see the blue dots. So the country items which are already available within this, the names that are being detected or identified are being automatically plotted here. For instance, if I hover my mouse on one of the country, it is indicating it is India, Sri Lanka, Australia, and then this is New Zealand, and you can see this is South America, and I mean Brazil, United States, and South Africa. You can see UAE, Qatar, and you can also see the other portion like Turkey and United Kingdom. I hope you guys were able to see everything here like this.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk more about the visual section. Since I have created one particular portion called the visuals country, let me first select the visual. Selection is always important while you want to do any modifications. Selection is pretty important. If you are not selecting, you will not see the options. And don't come back and say that, I am not able to see the options, because basically you might be not selecting it. So after you select the visual first, under the visuals, let me cover the first portion. You can see build your visual is actually highlighted with the background, which means right now currently you are under the build visual part. Under these visuals, you can see there is something called the location. Under the location, the country is being shown. What you have done is you are bringing the data set from right hand side data onto the canvas directly. So this is identifying that you are bringing the location as a country part, which is good. Legend, I'll tell you what exactly is the legend part. You don't need to do this portion. Just watch the screen. Don't do anything. Just watch. If I bring the country, if I bring the country back onto the legend, what will happen? I'll show you. The reason why we are wanted to do it, basically all these countries are shown right now with blue color. For you, दिल में क्या हो सकता है कि I hope everyone are comfortable with Hindi as well, right? You just need to bear with me with my language sometimes. हाँ,
Yes,
okay.
comfortable.
बेसिकली क्या होता है ना, दिल में एक फील रहते हैं, अरे इतना अच्छा है विजुअल, लेकिन कलरफुल होगा तो और भी अच्छा रहता है क्या? क्योंकि हमारा दिमाग ऐसे ही काम करता है कि जो भी देखेंगे कलरफुल दिखेंगे तो बहुत बहुत पसंद आता है. तो now see this, if I bring the legend onto the back country, different countries are different identified with the different color codings, correct? And see how it is showing. But the only problem is, unless and until you are like a geographic teacher or you have a proper geography on your hands, you don't need to have a identifier of name what it is. So you can identify, this is that particular country. But even for that, sometimes we will have to face a difficulty. But this is how it will look. If you do it this way, what will happen? Your your visual might look very, very clear and good. But unfortunately, what will happen is it will be clumsy sometimes. It will be clumsy sometimes. I usually don't recommend it, but let's see what's going on. Latitude and longitude का जरूरत नहीं है. You don't need to really worry about it. Bubble size. Now the second thing what will happen is I'm able to locate every country, but then can I show the bubble size bigger and smaller based upon some database? Yes, you can also do that. So let's see which database can be of useful. But before I go ahead with my question is, in order to quantify a certain size of a data, what is your data format should be like? Your data format can be quantifiable in terms of a text or number.
Number.
In your database, you have a certain data information here, out of which you have different data sets which are there in the number format. So you can choose any one of the data format to choose your bubble size. For example, there is something called average cost for two. If I try to bring this average cost for two and drop it onto the bubble size, do you see everything is showing up in a simple different way?
Yeah.
This
Yes.
is indicating the bubble size here because you have more of the data on the India side, less of the data on the other portions. So that is why it is not even visible more.
Yep.
And also now let's look at this average cost for two. When I bring this onto the bubble size, do you see what it says? Count of average cost. It is saying count of average cost. Basically, if I go back and then look at the table view and move to the right hand side portion a little bit and then find out where is this average cost for two. This is the average cost for two column. When I select this column, can you tell me what kind of data set is it? Like, is it a number format or a text format, or what kind of format is it right now?
Number.
Number. Number.
You're wrong.
Hmm.
Why? Because this is what you need to have your attention to detail. Like I said, in your Excel spreadsheet, if you have a column like this, see, it's a simple way. If I take one of the cell and then type a number called 400, this is in a number format. If I add a single apostrophe and keep it like 400, now this is in the text format and this is in the number format. Whenever it is to the left hand side of it, basically it gives you an impression this is in the text column, text format. If
Yeah.
this is to the right hand side, it is in the number
Number.
Number
format.
form.
Same technique, you will identify it here on the Power BI. And this is one of the
Okay.
reason where I have told you, if you know Excel better, Power BI becomes much easier for you as a cakewalk. This is one way. Another way I will also tell you. That is my hypothetical statement. For B, there is one more way that you can see. When I select the column, you will see there are properties on the top. There is an option called column tools, and if you look at this, what is the data type it is
Text.
reflecting?
Text, yeah.
Okay.
When I select this and then click on the whole number, it is asking me that do you want to continue? Yes. Then now what will happen? This is converted into the whole number. Now, does it actually move to the right hand side?
Yes.
This is
Moved.
what the easier identification you need to have.
Hmm.
Then also you will see that the format here is also converted into whole number and there is a categorized. Now with the same thing, once it is converted into a number format, you would have noticed there is a sigma symbol which is appearing on the right hand side of the on the left hand side of the name of the column under the data section.
Yeah.
This indicates that your data is identified in the number format and it is categorizing as a sum. If I now go back to the report view, if I go back into the report view and remove this and again bring this average cost here, now does it show right now the sum of average and now you can see two more bubbles coming up?
Hmm.
Yes.
Now I'll explain you mathematics. For example, there are numbers like this 400, 200, 300, 500 and 9000 and 2000, for example. Okay. If I make a sum of it, if I make a sum of it, do you see there will be a large number because there is a impact on both high numbers which are there in thousands and then the rest of them are in the hundreds, correct? It's a
Yes.
simple way.
Hmm.
Let's say, for example, if I am talking about, let's say this is the employee count each one of the month you have, or let's say employee count. Okay. This is basically, if you look at the sum of it, it is showing you 12,400. But if you want to show to a management or anyone, what is the aggregate? When I say aggregate, some count some count average, minimum, maximum, mean, mid, these are called aggregate functions. So if I really have to show a data in a proper proportionate to any of the audience, do you think what kind of aggregate function is better? I know the question might be misleading or or might not be in a proper understanding, but my question is, when you show the numbers to, oh, let's say if it is not an employee count, if it is a sales for each month like this, okay? If it is a sales like each month like this, and if I want to show to the management like, sir, these are my sales, what is the usual way that what is the aggregate function we usually show on the sales part? Yes, Prashant, you are spot on. We don't usually show it in the sum because sum is like a misleading value every time. Rather, what we do is we'll take an average and then we'll see. Now, what is average showing you? Uh, There is a difference between sum and average, right? Now, see this. If I want to show the same bubble size by giving a justification in all the area, but not just one area, I want to convert this into sum to average. How do I convert from sum to average? Whenever you see this kind of aggregation of sum of average cost, when I click on the drop down of it, you will see all the different options, whatever you have. When I select the average, this is where it will show me the average of all the average cost. Understood? It will show me the average. Now you see the average is going up high for something else, but for India, it is going very low. So you need to have a proper, honestly, you need to have a proper database to show, then the bubble size can be shown up. But if I'm in your position, what I would do is I will not take up with this. Rather, I will use a kind of a USD value and then keep an average of the USD value to see this is how the justification I can give it. Basically, there is a 2 USD value. I'm just taking it, which is not required, but I'm just showing it. And now see this. I'll go back to the table view. the average cost for two, and then there is a USD value. We'll talk about it in few minutes. So far, you guys were able to understand what I'm talking, how you can play around with the visuals and then the data sets.
Yes.
Let's break for 15 minutes. We'll come back, regroup, and then we'll continue the session. Okay.
Okay.
I'll just give 15 minutes break. Just be back on time again. Okay. And I'll continue the same thing from here.
12:10 or 12:05.
Yeah, 12:05, 12:10. Just be back on time.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, let me share my screen. All right. So you guys were able to see my screen now, right? All right. So here, what we are going to do right now, as I told you, like we are still emphasizing more on the bubble size part. So then compared to the earlier, the results were looking little better. So to much more make it little bit more better. Okay. So I would say let's talk about this particular portion and then we'll see what we can do on this. I'll go back to the table view for a minute. And I'm not sure like how many of you have actually have noticed this part. When we did the append one table, right? There is a column called the average cost for two, which is already being given. And apart from that, there is a currency which is given. And the currency indicates that it is all like Indian rupee, or you have a different kinds of currencies like Botswana Paula, Brazilian real, dollar, Emirati. Since we have different countries and different countries follow a different currencies, the local currencies, so we have got the information according to the local currency. And for that, what we did is we created a converter, USD converter value. And using the converter value, we have made a VLOOKUP, like a merge query, and then brought in the 2 USD value. Now, it is important and necessary to make sure when you are representing any sort of information, there should be a common dollar value or a common currency value that we can show. So the universal currency column that you will be usually showing it is the dollar value. So my question is, how do you convert all these values into a USD value so that you are showing everything in a dollar amount and making a consistency over the report across?
There is under formatting,
Okay,
there is an option under formatting, maybe using that.
but it will just convert the current number into a dollar or a currency. But my question is, you have to convert these values into a dollar value.
So like 400 Indian rupees, how much is that into a US dollar, right?
Yes,
Okay. And we have a column already for that 2 USD.
perfect.
So it's $0.013 for
Hmm.
400 rupees.
So what do you do? That will be the value. 400 is your Indian rupee. The conversion value is 0.013 for each one of the rupee that you have. So how do you make a dollar value out of it?
Multiplication, like
Multiplication, because 400 Indian rupees is not 0.013, it is more than that, right?
Exactly. So what you will do, you will do the multiplication. So in order to do the multiplication activity, what you can do is either you can actually do it over here rather than going back onto the Power Query, you can do the same thing over here. Let's give it a try if we can able to do it. So how do I do that? So here, if you look at this, we have home, help, table tools, and the column tool. However, we want to create a new column with the currency value, then it will show us what we can do. Likewise, in Excel spreadsheet, you are creating a new column and then you do the multiplication. Can you do it over here the same thing? So if you go to the table view and right click on the append one table, you have two options here called new measure and new column. I'll talk about the measure in a later stage for you to have a better understanding, but let's create a new column. So I'll click on the new column. When I click on the new column, what it will do is it actually creates a column. And here on the formula bar, I will mention the column name as USD value. And in this case, I need to multiply this average cost for two. So I will slowly type. I know this will not work out, but still, let's give it a try. Average cost for 2. This is the column that I'm picking up into, and again I'm opening a square bracket, and then I will say 2 USD value. That's it. There is nothing that I wanted to do. And then hit enter, when I hit enter, you would see there are values are coming up over here. So if I look at this, 400 into 0.013 gives me 5.2. Does this value reflect in a proper way? So 5.2.
Yes.
So sometimes you can see 5.2, 2.6, 8.45, etc., etc. Correct? How do I bring a consistency over this particular data? Now, like as you rightly mentioned and spotted earlier, when I select the USD value, I could see the column tools on the top. And what I can do on the column tools is I will make sure the number is in the fixed decimal number rather than the decimal number. So I'll use a fixed decimal part and click on yes. And then right very next to this, I'm changing the formatting to 2 decimal points. So now it is giving a consistency of 2 decimal points. And then I'll change the currency to a dollar value. My system is following pounds value, so it is automatically showing me the pound. And now I change the currency back into dollar and then keep it with 2 values. Now, do you see there is a consistency over both the values right now everywhere?
Mm, mm.
And with this, I will go back and you will also notice that this column is actually added over here. So this symbol here before the column name indicates that this is a new column.
Okay.
And now that what I'll do is I'll go back to the report view and I'll see that the USD value is over here. I'll remove this average, bring in the USD value, and now convert this into the average so that I could see the consistency over across all the regions and is showing in a good format.
Okay. Can we try
These are all
this?
the, yeah, these are all the tips that I'm talking about. These are all the tips I'm talking about. In your real time scenario, you will have to take a call of how do you have to take it forward. But these are all the simple tips that you can follow while you are using your information. Let me know once you guys are done so that it will be easy for us. Good, Prashant. Thank you for that. Revati, I know you dropped out in between and then you switched in back, but were you able to do it?
No, Shrikant, actually, I'm still facing the connection issue. Give me a moment.
Hmm.
Shrikant, after making the changes in the table view, can you show once again what you did on the visualizations part and the data part on this report area?
On the visualization part, I went down to the bubble size,
Bubble size, okay.
selected that, and then removed whatever the current value, and then replaced that current value with the USD, and then made a average of the USD value.
Average of USD value, okay.
That's it. That is how your bubble size will be identified here. All right, good. Thank you, Kashi.
Oh,
You guys are facing an issue.
I can't see the bubble size option under visualizations. I don't know what went wrong.
There is nothing went wrong. This is what I
Okay.
have reiterated, before the break. At any given point in time, if you want to do any sort of changes, the basic thing what you will do is you will have to first select the visual. If you're not selecting the visual, you will not see that option.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
think
now
somewhere
it
long
worked.
back, yeah, somewhere long back,
Yes.
I think I remember one of my friends saying he called me up suddenly in the middle of the night, somewhere around the closing time, 10 o'clock, 10:30, and then he started like, my friend, I could not able to see that control C option working in my system. I was like wondering, like, what do you mean by that? No, I'm not able to see the control C option and it is not getting pasted at all. That is what I realized. That fellow, first of all, he didn't even select anything and then did the control C command. First of all, they need to select it. Otherwise, around where the control C command will work.
This is so basic. Okay.
I know the basics only will start doing the issues.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I keep emphasizing every time, like, I attention for detail is pretty important.
But even when you're selecting, the highlight thing is also, it's so gray in color, it's not that popping to the eyes that if it's selected or not. So that also creates some confusion, maybe.
Don't worry, I'll show you better methodologies of everything. That's the reason
Okay.
why this session is an eye-opener session for everyone. So now see this. Now, till now, what you have done is you just created the visual part and then you are playing around with the options that Power BI is giving you in terms of it. Okay, the last one, apart from this, whatever you have the point is tooltips. Now, where the tooltips and how the tooltips will work out. See this, we created a map visual, which is fine. And then what you will think that for the map visual, The bubbles and everything is showing up very clearly. But what is the use of showing this kind of visual? That is what that comes to your mind when it is actually not giving me anything, but it looks colorful and good on my screen. So when you hover the mouse on one of the bubble, what you would be noticing is it is telling you what is the country name, and it is also repetitively doing the country name twice. And then it is showing you the average of the USD value, since that is showing you the bubble size of it. Correct? Apart from this, if you want to add little bit of more information about the data within that, when someone hover the mouse over here, if you want to show us a little bit of more information, for example, I'm taking a restaurant ID. Okay, I'm taking the restaurant ID. Basically, what is the restaurant ID format? What is the data format of it?
Number.
First of all, we need to give you training. What is data format type?
Wait. Let me check the table again. Yeah, it's text. Text.
It's a text format.
Yes.
So when I bring the restaurant ID and keep this onto the tooltips, since it is basically a text format, basically it's a text format. The Power BI by default, whenever you're loading some data from the text format and bringing onto the canvas or adding to the visual, when I hover the mouse, what it is showing me, what is the first restaurant ID it is showing up. But that is what not I'm expecting. I'm expecting that it should show me what are the total number of restaurants I have over there. So for that, what I will do is I will again click on this drop down of it, and there is something called count distinct and then the count. So when I switch this back to the count distinct, this will now add little bit of information and then show me, see the total distinct count of it is having 20 restaurants within that. So which means basically the Singapore is having multiple restaurants, and that is the average value, and the count distinct, which means there are 20 distinct restaurants within that location. So you can add more and more number of tips. It's not just related to only one thing. You can add more number of tips. Let's say there is something called the rating text. If I'm bringing the rating text over here, okay, and then keep it again, basically when it is showing me the first rating text, whenever it is showing the aggregation as first, remember that although it is in the number format, what it is showing, it is in the text format, not in the number format. So now when I go back to the table view and then look for the rating text, which is there somewhere hiding behind, okay, this is aggregate rating, or let's say the rating text. So aggregate rating I need to pick up, not the rating text anyways. So let's say this is the aggregate rating, this is also in the text format. So what I would do is I'll just keep this into a decimal number and then change this back into the general part. And now I'll go back to this place, and then what I will do is I'm just removing this and bring the average rating, which is there on the top, or aggregate rating. And since it is showing the sum, I'll change this to the average and then show it. So when I hover the mouse, now you can see the average of the aggregate rating is also coming up. So tooltips are basically to add additional information apart from whatever you are showing or whatever it is visible for the clients or your people who, or the audience who is actually looking at your data. Okay. So this is on the tooltip side. Now let's look at the actual portion of what you can do. Like you said, sometimes the data, or let's say the data that you're trying to plot over here is visible but not so visible, but not comfortable, but not with a way that you actually wanted to show to the people. So now let's decode back and then see what are the different options Power BI is actually giving you, how you can able to do this. So for that, as I told you, every time do remember you have to first select your visual, because right now this is only one visual. You might add a few more visuals over here. While you're adding few more visuals, you might get confused where you're actually working on. So do remember very clearly, whatever the visual that you want to actually work on, first thing you will have to select that visual on the canvas. Only then your options will be highlighted. Now in this case, build visual is fine. Next to the build visual, you will see there is a paintbrush coming up. This is what we call it as format your visual. So basically, when I'm talking about the format your visual, this is the actual place where you will have to do your cosmetic changes. When I say cosmetic changes, that is not restricted only to formats, colors, or anything, but also it is uh, open for you to make changes to headings and also the other parts. Okay, everything will be done onto the format your visual. So do remember, build visual is only for building your data set. When I talk about data set, if in case if it is a line chart, pie chart, bar chart, you remember in your Excel files when you're creating a bar chart or anything, how you design your table, or let's say how you design your chart, like what should be on x-axis, what should be on y-axis, what is the additional information that you wanted to show. All these are kind of the building visuals or the builds that you will have to use for a visual part. They are available on the build visual. But other than the build visual, if you want to adjust your scale, let's say the x-axis scale, y-axis scale, or making your font look bold, italic, underline, or change the color of it, increase the portion of it or decrease the portion of it, etc., etc. These are all called cosmetic changes, and these are available only on the format your visual. Now let's see, switch to the format your visual and then see for this particular kind of map visual, what are the Power BI options you have. Since you are switching to the very latest version of the Power BI, eventually this is becoming so much flexible for the uh, employees, or let's say the users, that it is giving you more and flexible option. If you look at the very old version of the Power BI, this is not how it is looking like. It is little, what do you say, this is good, but little tedious. But eventually when it started growing more and more with the latest updates, it is becoming more and more easy and user friendly to the people. So this is a best example. Under the format your visual, you will have two different types of visuals always, every time, for every visual you take. What is that? One is called your visual, one is called your general. Let's cover what is on the general part. As I told you, not every time I'll touch base everything, but still I'll let you know what is important, what is not important. For example, on the general part, under the properties, when I expand this, you will see what is the height and width. So basically, I don't need to actually look at this like doing it. So when I hold a corner, any corner of the visual and then move out here and there, okay, the height and visual will automatically change. So this is where if I want to decide my visual needs to be like, I will do it this way. So that is what it is actually showing you, the height and width of it. That is under the properties. Title. This is called a dynamic way of giving the title to your visual. If you look at the title on the top, which is like very heavier, because the more data that you are loading, the more heavy the title will be. For instance, average of USD value, count of restaurant ID, and average of aggregate rating by country and country. Who is going to understand this bigger length of the title that you are giving? I would like to keep it pretty simple. See this. If I want to give my custom title over it, this is called the title portion. Then what I would do is I'll go to the general part, open the title portion, and then just what I'll do is I'll just select this and then say, since this data is belonging to a kind of a food service provider like a Zomato, I would just keep it like a better way to show it. Let's say we are expanded across the world. Let's say I've just maintained like this, a kind of a statement. I mean, you can give your own title. You can write anything, whatever you want. I just wrote it, which could be a better way to understand. We are expanded across the world in different countries and locations. So that is what the meaning it gives me. And after this, I have formatting stuff. So I can keep the heading 6 or 3 or 5 or whatever it is. And if you want to maintain a different font, I'll maintain a font like this, and increase or decrease of the font size will be maintained. But remember that this is only talking about the title, only the title, and not again the other portions what you're looking at. for each and every tiny information that you are doing, everything have a different kind of formatting. So now I have given a Calibri here with 17. If I want to make it bold, I'll keep it bold. And if I want to change the text of the color, and I'll make a text of the color like this. And then again, I'm making the background color. Like if I want to change the background. So right now this is white. So that is why it is showing you the white. If I keep it in a blue color, this is how it looks like on the blue banner. So I'll just keep it like no fill, and then horizontal alignment left or right or mid. So I'll just keep it left only. I don't need to worry about it. Below that, if you want to add anything more over it, that is what we call it as the subtitle. So when I switch on the subtitle, again, it is giving me more information. So I'll just show or mention it like values are shown in average, just to make sure that, okay, people are not get confused about like what the values are shown. And if I want to create any kind of, as I told you, again, for the subtitle, you will have the same thing. For the subtitle, you will have the same thing. And then if not the case, the text color, I'll keep it this way and bold. I'll just increase it a little bit so that it is shown up clearly. And then divider. Divider का जरूरी नहीं है. Like otherwise around, if you want to show the divider is this line between the title and then this, which doesn't look so good. So I'll just remove it. I keep it simple as much as I can. Spacing, like if you want to bring the spacing between the label and the visual part. So if I want to open it and then say space below the title, space between the subtitle, like you want to decrease or increase, let's say space below the title, if I want to decrease it, see, it gets decreased. This is how it is getting decreased. If you want to increase it, I can increase it. This is a place where you will see that. Apart from this, main on the effects part, what does effects will cover? Effects are covering like, do you want to have a different background or you want to have a visual border? Let's say now I will create a visual border, and if I expand that, this is by default black. I'll make it with a red. If you want to make a round corner, you can make it. And then you want to increase the width of it, you can bring the width of it like this. So this is how it looks like. The moment once I bring the width of it, like you can see, this is actually showing very worst sometimes. So I'll just keep it like 1 as a width so that, this is how it looks in a simple and better way. These are all in the under the visuals general portion. Header icons, tooltips, again, all these you wanted to bring the tooltips and everything, you can just do it. Otherwise around, you can just switch off the header icons or the tooltips as well. So nothing to worry about it. It's not going to create any impact. So I'll give you 2 minutes time just to explore this general option from your end, and then see you can make a cosmetic changes to that and then let me know. So I'll move on to the visual part and then show you so that you'll get a more clarity about it. By the way, if you are unable to locate an option, but the option is there in your mind, for example, you want to apply a border, but the option is there, but you don't know where to toggle around it. You don't need to really worry about it. You can click on the search, and then if it is the border, you can just type the border. It will highlight where under which section it is actually coming up. This is user friendly where you can actually do it for yourself. So just give a try and then see. That's good, Misbah. Looks better. Good, Prashant. Let's hear from Revati and Kashi also. And just for your understanding, whatever the visual you take in the Power BI, you will always see this visual and general portion under the format. In general, whatever the items that I have explained right now remains the same across all the visuals. There is no doubt. All these options, whatever you say like property, title, effects, these are standard across all the visuals that you will be picking up under the Power BI. So I'll touch base on one. Remaining, I will not touch base more, but I'll whenever it is required, I'll just do the cosmetic changes over there. Okay. How about you, Revati? You are good?
Yes. Shrikant, almost there. Give me a moment.
Mhm.
The titles part is done, Shrikant, but when it comes to the data averages and all, I missed it. I will set that later.
Okay, no problem. So now see, don't worry. Now let's talk about the visual portion. So whatever you are seeing right now on the map, if you are not still okay with that, what are the better options that you will be able to see on the visual scene? The first thing is the map setting. When I get into the map setting, this default view is been shown as a road map. If I want to change the roadmap to something else, and before I go ahead with, in general, हमारा दिमाग में ये हो सकता है कि मैप में एशिया, नॉर्थ अमेरिका, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, एशिया, ये सारे की सारी चीज अपडेट हो रहे हैं, which is fine. But then if you also look at something portion here, these are not required for me. Okay, these labels are not required for me. So what do I do is, if I switch off the labels, all the labels are cleanly swiped. See, if I switch on the label, labels are coming up. If I switch off the label, everything is cleaned up, and wherever we are located or operating, only that portion is actually highlighted. Okay, only that portion is actually highlighted, nothing else. Then next to that, the style of the map. If I go back to the style, I have different styles. Let's say if I switch back to the aerial, this is how the aerial map looks like. If I switch to a dark mode, this is how it looks like. If I switch to a lighter mode, this is how it looks like. And if I switch to the grayscale, this is how it looks like. So if you are interested to pick up any one of the thing, I'll just go with the aerial map, or let's say if I'll go with the dark map, otherwise, just to make sure that the data will be visible. And now this is one portion that you are looking at if you want to change the style of the map. Then under which you don't need to worry about the controls ka jo bhi option hai, you don't need to really touch base anything. Legend. Legend is nothing but the top portion. If I switch off the legend, this increase the map value, give me a precise location of what I'm looking at. And then bubbles are something like, you want to change the bubble size of it, you don't need to really worry, or the colors, because you already have controlled through the legend. If I'm not adding a legend, then this is a portion where you can actually show the size of the bubble based upon that. So bubbles, I'll leave it. But Since we have removed the labels, the very first thing that might come to your mind, like, can I bring the portion where I want to actually highlight? Category labels, if I switch on, now it will only show me what is required for my category. So if I go back and then expand the values for the category, first thing it will start with the font size, which font you want to use it. I'm selecting a font. And again, if I want to increase the font size, this is what the font size will look like. And if I want to make it bold, I can make it bold, or else I'll just keep it as it is. And then color of it, if you want to change the color of it and then show it highlighted like this, you can do it. And background of the category label, if I want to keep it with a white in color to make give an extra elevation, you can do it like this. And the transparency, if I decrease this is how it looks like for the background. So these are the simple cosmetic changes that you can actually use it. So give it try on the map settings, legend, bubbles, category labels, and then keep your data ready so that it looks simple and better. See, now the aerial view looks much better than any other view for me. Earlier it looks like thoda clumsy here, but now it looks better for me. But as I told you, the movie is not yet over. The actual usage of all these things, I'll show you what will happen. Let me know once you guys are ready, then I'll move to the next portion so that then you will see the actual usage of it. And then later part, you'll also see another visual portion of it, which is really important and necessary. That will give you a little bit of idea about what we are talking. Ready for the next step? Okay. Now see this. You are not going to experience anything right now. It is just that we have brought in only certain data. You're actually not experiencing anything. Now let's talk about one more new visual which you are not actually introduced onto the Power BI. So see, what am I doing? Under the visual portion, this time you don't need to select any visual on the canvas, but when you look back at the build your visual, you are having multiple visuals over here, out of which the fourth row, 1, 2, 3, and fourth row. On the fourth row, sixth column, you see there is an option called 1, 2, 3, a visual by name like 1, 2, 3. This is called card visual. It's called card. Okay. CARD, card visual. It's a good visual in the Power BI to show a simple, straightforward number. Now, what I do is I'll just click on this card visual and you will see there is a card which is automatically added over here. Okay. So for this card visual to work on, I'm just reducing it. For the card visual to work on, the first thing what you need to do is you need to add a appropriate information. What I wanted to add the appropriate information is when I scroll down, you will see the USD value. You will see this USD value. I'm bringing the USD value, or let's say, let's not bring the USD value. Let's bring the restaurant ID. So there is a restaurant ID. I'm going to bring the restaurant ID and then drop it onto the card visual. Since if you remember, I have explained it. The restaurant ID is a text format. That is the reason why it is indicating with first restaurant ID. But this is not what I wanted to show. I actually wanted to show what is the total number of restaurants we have. So I'll go to this drop down and then click on the count of it. The moment once I click on the count of it, you will see the value is shown as 9550 as the count of restaurant ID. Ideally, this is what I'm expecting, that this should match with you guys. If it is more or less, also let me know. So execute this and then let me know. I brought the card visual and then I have updated the restaurant ID onto the field and then changed that to the count of the restaurant ID, so that it will tell me what is the total count across the globe we are operating. Great. All right. So now that I have just bring in the new visual, which is card, and then I'm using it. Let's look at the cosmetic changes of it, what we can do. I'm selecting this particular visual over here and then go back to the format your visual. And as I told you, the general part, I'm not going to have more out of items of it. Rather, what I will do is I'll just add a title over here. I'll switch off the header icons and then add the title. And in the title, I would say total restaurants, and I'll keep the heading like 6. And then the font of it, I'll keep it Calibri, and 15 or let's say 14, let's keep it aside. I'll bold it, underline it, and then the text color, I will change this to, I'll keep it black. I'll not do anything. I'll make the alignment to center, and then I'll not give any kind of subtitle or divider or do any kind of or changes. Rather, I'll go to the effects and then give a border for that. Switch on the visual border, and then I'll give a color with the red font. And then if possible, I'll make a round corner to 5, and I'll keep it like this. So these are what I have done on the format your visual under the general part. Now it's up to you, like you can design it in a better way that you wanted to see under the general portion. So finish everything, whatever you wanted on the general portion, and let me know. Then I'll take it forward with the remaining things. Great. And again, going back to the format your visual, and this time I will talk about the visual part and then give you a bit of explanation. There are only two options on the card visual. So one is your call out value. Call out value का मतलब होता है ये 9550, the numeric value what you are seeing. If you want to do any cosmetic changes for that 9550, this is a place where you are going to do it. By click on the call out value, and you want to bring a font change for this, you'll do the font change. And you want to make it as a bold, you can do the bold. And you want to bring a different color to that, I'll give a color. And then the display units at this point in time, it is not required. So I'll just stop it over there for that call out value. And the category label is nothing but the portion below which says count of the restaurant ID. That's called the category label. I will switch off the category label because I already have given a title to that. So I don't want to have an extra option. So I'll switch off the category label, and I'll keep this box as it is like this and try to reduce it a little bit and then keep it like simple and sweet, so that I can use this rest of the area for remaining something else. But for now, here what I am having. These cosmetic changes and everything are something like it is purely related to your creativity, like how you can show your creativity on that. I'm just showing you my creativity, which is Not that much great, but still it is like just a kind of a creativity. There is nothing that you need to really worry about the creativity part. You can have your own better way of creativity wherein you can show and then see, and you don't need to really worry about it more. So let me know once you guys were able to do everything with your creativity part. Then I'll tell you the magics here. Okay, if you have done everything, then what you will notice right now, see, you click on any portion on the bubble. You see the color bubbles over there on the top, right? Click on any one of the bubble. This number should automatically change. And if you want to reset this any point in time, click on any one of the ocean area or any portion outside the bubble. This will automatically reset back to the number, original number, what you already have shown up. So click on that bubble. It is changing the number. That's main important.
Yes.
If it is changing, what does that mean? Again, if you remember the class that I have spoken, this is the connectivity it is actually doing like between the slicer and the data. So these bubbles are acting as slicers and it is slicing your data. This is basically happening because there is a connectivity between the database within the append1 table, and because of the relationships that it has been defining on the backend, it is filtering your data based upon the bubble that you are selecting. I know just because of one or two visuals and expanding more, talking to you more about like how you can do the cosmetic changes, I don't think so that you will lose the patience at this point in time. It looks crazy for now, but then at down the line you might feel, अरे यार ये कितना टाइम ये इतना डीपर इनसाइट एक्टिविटीज क्यों करना है, थोड़ा बेटर हो सकता है कि फॉर्मेटिंग कर सकते हैं सीधा सीधा, and then it will keep your time saving. So now let's look at that another portion. I'll teach you two different ways. So look at that. If you're good with this, what I want you guys to do is select this visual, do a control C and then do a control V. This is duplicating the visual. Now I'm going to bring this visual and then keep it to the side of it. I'm just keeping it to the side of it so that I'm aligning to this visual to the previous one without any problems with it. So just make a copy of it and then control V, paste it and then keep it to the right hand side. Let's work on the new card visual over here. What we are trying to do is to show some meaningful data at this point in time. So in the next visual that I'm selecting, there is an option here on the right hand side called the cuisines. As I told you, if you don't identify that, you can type cuisines. Okay, now I have selected the cuisines portion here to just make sure that I'm selecting the cuisines part, and I will take up the restaurant. While you're selecting this visual on the under the build visual, what field that you wanted to show, restaurant ID is automatically updated. I'm going to remove this and just drag the cuisines over here. Okay, since cuisines is also in the text format, it is showing the first cuisine. I'll select this portion and then say, give me a total count of the distinct cuisines here. So it is converting to a particular number. And then I will go back to the format visual, general title. And then here I would say total cuisines. And now do you see the amount of the time that I have spent on the first visual of the restaurant ID or the restaurants to show that entire total portion of the amount is being completely reduced to just less than 30 seconds, and I'm just able to achieve what I wanted to do it and in align with the format that I am actually having. See how easy it becomes. Only thing what I have done is I just maintained that only the title have changed. Rest, I just did the formatting within 30 seconds. Don't need to really invest your time. This is a easier way in Power BI. Like how you do it in Excel, like using a format painter, you can do it the same way. If you have done with this, I will show you another methodology. In the same way, another methodology, I'll show you what you can do on that. But this requires a little bit of effort. This time it will not be 30 seconds. You will spend around a minute, but still you should be able to achieve something, whatever you want to do. So just take a look at what am I doing right now. I'm starting from the scratch, a card visual. I'm starting from the scratch, a card visual. I'm taking it basically and keeping it over here just to ensure that I'm on the same page. Okay. Then what am I doing? I mean, these are different ways. Okay. So this time I'm going to bring, not going to bring the quiescence, but I'll bring USD value, which we created. So I'll bring onto the USD value. I know Revati, you missed it, but don't worry. We'll look at that. So I have brought in the USD value, and this is showing me the sum of the average USD value. I'll convert it into the average. And then what I'll do is just see, I'm selecting this visual now. There is an option here on the top home tab clipboard group. There is an option called the format painter. I'm selecting the format painter and then bring the paintbrush and then put it over here. Now the cosmetic changes are applied automatically. All I will do is I'll go to the general, click on the title and then say average cost in USD. And now this is aligned back to my visual. And what else is left over? See, the border, everything has been done. Only thing left over is what is the total height and width of it that I need to decide. So the height and width can be seen in the general, which is 95 207. So I'll just mention the same thing like 95 and then 207. So now this is aligned back to my thing. And now the spacing part, I can just keep a control for myself and then leave it. This is another way that you can actually do your format of your visual. So whatever the format you have applied to your visual will automatically apply to the another portion. As I told you, this takes a bit of 1 minute time for you, but the earlier one is easier. I know you'll opt for the copy and paste and then do the cosmetic changes, which is easier and which I also recommend to do. That's always better to do. For you, Revati, what had happened when you have joined, when I go into the table view,
Yeah.
there is an append one table over here, right?
Yes.
The basic concept what we have done is in the append one table, there is an option called average cost for two and there is a currency. Now
Yeah.
each currency is given in different local currencies.
Yeah.
When I represent some data to any one of them, right, we can't show in the
Mhm.
local currencies.
Yes.
There should be a common currency that needs to be done.
Yeah.
So there is a value called 2 USD.
Yeah.
In order to convert the local currencies into a dollar value or a common currency across the world, I have created a new column by doing this way. Right click on the append one,
Yeah.
and then there is an option called new column.
Yeah.
When I click on the new column, it will first ask me what is the column that you wanted to add. So on the formula bar, you will see the column name, and then here you can write your own column name. Like here in this case, I wrote USD value. So you can mention that USD value over here. and then after is equal to, what you will do is you will open a square bracket, and then within that you are going to find what is the column name, which is average cost for 2.
Okay.
And then for multiplying we'll use star, and then again you are using a open bracket, and then identify one more column which is called the 2 USD.
Current. Yeah.
And then once you hit enter, you will see the column will automatically get added over here,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That is what I have done. And then I'll switch back to the report view. Before I switch back to the report view, again, after the column is added, to make it consistency, what I have done is I am selecting the column and then change the data type to fixed decimal number and format to currency, and then changed it to the dollar value and mention the formatting as 2 digits so that it is consistently maintaining the dollar format with 2 decimal portions.
This 1 second. Currency and 1 second, please. See. Into someone uncut price. Yeah, done.
And once this cosmetic changes are done, if you come back to the report view and add this, bring the USD value column onto the third card, and then change this to the average of the USD value, this is how it should look like.
Mm. Yes, done.
So now that you are aligned with this, now what we'll do, we'll quickly create a fourth visual, and then I'm just making a copy of it and paste it without approaching the methodology too. I'm just approaching the next method, what I have done. And I've taken this. On the fourth visual, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add aggregate rating. Instead of USD value, I'm going to add the aggregate rating and change this to average of the aggregate rating. And on the general portion title, I'll just mention this as average cost ke badle average rating, and just keep it aside. Now that I have got 4 different card visuals with all different kinds of um, various views of the data, now which makes a little bit of sense. For each of the restaurant, what are the total number of cuisines we have, and how many total number, what is the average cost in the USD dollar, and what is the average rating of the restaurant. Now that you can go back and then click on any one of the bubble to see all this information has been segregated for each one of the region that you are actually selecting. See, does it make sense and working better? This is a kind of a storytelling. This is a kind of a storytelling of your data. You guys can confirm me that all these 4 visuals or the cards are actually working and you're able to see.
Uh, for average rating, what we have considered.
Aggregate rating column.
Okay, under field, like for aggregate rating column, which what is that we are considering count, distinct count.
You missed this portion as well, I guess. Is
Yes,
your aggregate
actually.
rating column is in a column format, a text format, or a number format?
Oh, actually, okay, I got it. It is in text format. I will convert it into.
Yes. Is it now aligned, everyone?
So for aggregate rating, we are considering whole number, decimal, which one?
It's a decimal number with a fixed one, because aggregate rating is always something like you will go with 4.2, 4.3, 4.4. So fixed decimal with the 2 decimal portions. But one thing is pretty clear, guys. For you to do this Power BI, you need to have a lot of patience. That's the first thing. Second thing is you will have beautiful options. You can explore more and more. It will give you a lot of options than compared to any other visualization tool in the market. It's just that you need to have a bit of patience.
No, I
Okay. All right. So now look at this one. If you guys have done all the 4 visuals part, and now that you have already got everything in picture, as I told you that when you click on the bubble, all the numbers will automatically change, right? All the numbers are actually automatically getting changed. So if you guys are in alignment with this data, okay, now that what I'm going to do, watch the screen. What I'll do is, here you have got countries from across all the different locations. Let's say the bunch of values what I'm showing you right now could be little different. When I say it is more, because the more amount of the data that you're adding, the more options, it will look more clumsy sometimes. What I would do in this case, right, do a kind of more option to give the user that they can filter more and more, so that they will see bit of data, and the options are also lesser. Because right now, if I go and look at the country, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 different countries are there. But then if you think about it, if a person can able to still look at lesser options, it looks more and more good and good on your data. So how do you do that? Take a look at this. The first thing what I'm going to do is, under the search bar, we know that we have created a continent data set, which is called the region, right? So under the append one, there is a column called the region. First thing, I'm going to bring the region and then drop it onto the canvas. And when I drop it onto the canvas, what you would have noticed, this is coming up as a text value. Okay, this is coming up as a text value, right? So what does this mean in? For instance, if I select the Africa, you will see only one country is shown up. If I select the Asia, only few values are shown up. If I select the Europe, only few values are getting shown up. Correct? Now, this is what we are slicing our data. So how do you bring a good cosmetic change on this and then ensure that it is elevating your creativity on that report? So watch the screen. What am I doing? First thing, I have brought the region which is there into the text format, whatever be the format or visual, it is auto detecting. And then under the visualizations, when I scroll down like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, fifth row, third column, fifth row, third column, there is an option called slicer. I'm converting this model into a slicer visual. So the moment once I click on the slicer, you would be noticing there is a slicer value coming up. You would be noticing it is converted into a slicer. The picture is not yet over. Just watch the screen. What am I doing? After this is converted into a slicer, This is the usual way, like in Excel, like you can see the slicer, how it is showing up. It will be shown up onto the same way. But how do I bring a bit of clarity on this and then see if it can give me more aligned to my report? So now that I have done the slicer part, I will select the slicer and click on the format your visual. And on the general part, like I said, if I want to have a header icon, I'll just remove the header icon, and then the title portion, if you want to add a title, you can add it, otherwise around leave it. So I don't expect that to happen right now. Effects, I will try to bring a proper effect, like let me bring a visual border, switch on the visual border. Again, I'll use the same red color, light red color. Rounded corners का जरूरत पड़ा है तो you can just do it. So right now, this is how the rounded corners are looking like with the red color part, which is good. Then I'll go back to the format your visual and go to the slicer setting under the visual part. So slicer settings option, under the option, there is a style called the vertical list or horizontal list or drop down. I specifically go with a tile. When I click on the tile, this is how it converted into a tile portion. And on the selection part, you can see there is a single select, multi-select with control. I would say do not disturb any of the setting, but if you want to have a select all option, you can select all. Reason, you are having right now Africa, Asia, blank, Europe, whatever it is. When I switch on the select all, you will see one more option called the select all. So I have selected all like this, and then minimizing this. Slicer header, this portion region, I don't want that to be there. I'm switching off it. Values are nothing but the options within that. So I'll go to the values part. I will align back to the Calibri. I mean, I'm using only Calibri, so I'm aligning it back to the Calibri part. And I will make sure this is showing a 12 or 13 value, whatever it is, and make it a bold color. Font color, I'll keep it, let's say white color. And then border part and everything, I'll keep it with a red portion. This is how it looks like. And then font color is okay. Background color, I'll make it as a red in color, like this. And now that I have got a good amount of portion on the formatting part, so I'm reducing it little, and I'll try to expand it more. And I'll just keep it little bit above, and then see right now, I do have everything ready as a slicer part. Now see, earlier, instead of going anywhere, now if you're giving an option like a button to the people, what will happen if I select, let's say North America? Now your map is controlling what are the two different countries that are falling or aligning under NAM. When I click on Oceania, it is simply switching back to the regions. SAM, it is showing you the Brazil. Click on Asia, it will show different countries. Africa, it is showing up different countries. And when I select all, it is showing everything. When I again double click on the select all, it is just coming up back in a original state. So I'll give you time right now for 5 minutes. Just play around with this and then get back to me after you make this arrangement. I don't know if you guys are also seeing this blank portion. Don't worry about that blank portion, what it is showing. I know how to control a blank portion. I'll tell you that as well, because that blank doesn't look better. I don't think so. We'll have any information under the blank, but then it is coming up for XYZ reason. We'll control that as well. I'll give you that option how you can do that.
Shrikant, can you show me how you got the select all button?
Under the slicer settings, when you
Okay.
select the slicer and under the slicer settings, you will see and there is an option called selection. When you expand it, there is an option here called the select all.
Uh, when I select the slicer and I go on visual, I see slicer settings. Under that, I can see option, I can see selection, show select all. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And how you are getting all those tiles in one single line? I am actually, even if I'm selecting, I'm getting it in double rows.
You just need to expand it.
Uh, even if I'm expanding, it's still staying on the double rows.
You need to contract as well.
Mm, okay, yeah.
Contract how?
Select it, select over here the contract and expand it like this.
Oh, got it.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
And how you added the color under effects? Okay.
No, that is the visual border. If you want to add the colors back to this particular portion, that under the visual values part, you will see the background.
Okay, visual and background. Okay.
Is it done, Prashant and Kashi? Good. So, are you also guys looking at this blank portion? You guys were having this blank as well.
Yes.
Okay. So it looks odd here. The blank portion, it looks very odd, which we know. How do you control this blank portion? When I select the slicer, when I select the slicer altogether right now till date, what you guys are doing is on the build visual and the data format your visual. As I told you, there is a filter option just before the visualization, right? Now I would say expand this filter option. What you will be noticing is under the filters on this visual, there is an option called region as all. When you expand this portion, right? I would ask you to select everything and then just unselect the blank. And once this is completed, you see there is a lock portion here. So the portion will lock with only with these values. So I'll click the lock filter and then just close this pane. Now with this, what will happen? I will only see the proper values over here. I did this wantedly because if in case you have this kind of situation on your data set, how do you control your data? For that reason, this is the exercise. So locking of the filter doesn't do anything. It will still give you the information. But now what you need to understand is when I simply click on one portion, this by default, there is no change for this, but by default, when I right now, how do I understand within all these options, within all the options, right now this is filtering for Asia. How do I understand? It automatically changes the background color to black. The ones which is there on the background color with black means that is right now currently selected on your data set. See, remaining everything is in the desired color what you already have created, but the portion only that I am selecting is only changing to black onto the slicer. Another also one more option, why there is a select all. See, when I click on the select all, everything is highlighted in black, which means everything is selected. Again, when I click on the select all, it is just getting released. it is releasing. Like I like I'm not sure like how many of you are aware of this. In the slicer, I'm selecting one, it is good. Selecting two, it is good. If I want to show one and two together, what I will do, I will hold the control button and click on one as well and release the control button. It is showing me multiple values. If I want to show 1 to 5, I'm holding the control button and doing it. Now here what you will understand, the background color is changing and the remaining other two unselected are not happening. The same technique. If I want to choose two different colors, let's say for example, when I click on select all, I'm having everything selected. Now, if I want to release Europe out of it, I want to release Europe out of it. I'm just selecting Europe. So Europe is unselected. And I also want to release Oceania. It is also being unselected. Now the values are only reflecting between Africa, Asia, and SAM. So this is the reason why you can use the select all option. That is how it can actually utilize. If you want to use a multiple selector, this is a easier way that you can do it rather than holding the control button and then select it. If you are not used to this kind of portion, either you can rely on the select all portion so that it will give you little understanding, but you need to know how the selection is happening and looking at the data, what is it is being selected is what you need to know clearly. Understandable, everyone? Any questions? Let's look at the major portions. Okay. Now, till now,
Okay.
what you have done is you have created your first report page, which looks better on your screen. Now you will see the movie magic on this. Don't think movie magic का मतलब है ऐसे editing, direction, cutting जैसे बिल्कुल कुछ नहीं होते हैं. छोटा सा tiny movie दिखा सकते हैं हम कि लोगों को अगर आपका रिपोर्ट देखने के बाद एक good feel होना चाहिए कि wow, a kind of a wow factor. How do you do the wow factors? See this. Do you see this? There is an image portion folder on your data set, what I have given you.
Yes.
Let's play around with this. Go to the insert tab on the top. Go to the insert tab. Under the insert tab, under the elements group, there is an option called image. Insert tab, elements group, image. So click on the image. This will ask you to select me where is your folder data. So I'm selecting my folder data and click on the images. Now that I want to bring one image, I can't multiple images at one go. So I'll select one image. Let's say I want to bring one cosmetic image like Zomato 1. The moment once I select this image, you can see this guy with the bike ride came onto the picture. Okay. You are used to your if you are a good person using PPT, PowerPoint presentation,
Mm.
this option is easier for you. So when I load this data, just to see this what is happening when I'm closing it out, removing it or expand it, this is how it will look like. Correct? It is creating so many major portions. Now see what am I doing? While the image is being in the selection mode, on the right hand side, I don't need to have anything on the general part. Only thing what I will do is on the style part, I'm going to do select the style. There are only three styles. Normal का मतलब ऐसे ही होता है, fit का मतलब ऐसे होता है, fill का मतलब ऐसे होगा. लेकिन I'll always select the fit portion, and now because of the fit, what will happen? I can actually bring or set up a complete picture of it and then see I'm fitting it and then I'll keep it like this. So now if I want to align this particular image, if I want to align this particular image with the slicer I'm having, so this is how I can actually do it and then keep it. So it looks like, yes, you're ready to select anything over here. And similarly, I'll go back to the insert elements group image and then select the next image, which is Zomato 2. And then what I do is, again, I'll say to the style part, fit part, and then what is the property that I'm using? I'm just taking a look at this 8092. So what I'll do is I'll change this back to 8092. And still, I know that the height, I'm able to adjust the height. So you can see the middle alignment border is also showing me, yes, it is in line with the first picture or not, it will show you. Right, now everything is in inline. So I'll release this, but this is not looking better. So I'll just increase the little bit portion of it and then leave this aside. Or you want to decrease your slicer part and then you want to increase this portion. See how your portion is like actually looking like now. You might think like, why are you teaching like a kid for us this kind of portion? There is a story for that, what I'm going to do. You will look at this entire story. When the entire report is actually being prepared, you will have that, you will have a feel of that wow factor on the later part. As I told you, these are all your creativity. I'm just showing portions. If you have done everyone, if you have done everyone, what I want you guys also to do, what I want you guys also to do is rename the page and then you make this as map visual. You rename this as map visual because tomorrow for you, it becomes easy for you to identify that this particular page have map visual. So it is easy for you to go and expand it and then see. So just do it till here and then let me know. Then I'll jump onto the next option where you will feel another good feel factor. Done.
Yes.
Okay. How about others? Okay. I'll take your silence as yes. Now see, the end of the portion, for now, at the end of the portion, you will have this kind of, you will know why we are doing this. Okay. Let's look at one more part. You see this map visual right now. What I want you to do is, if you hover the mouse on this map visual, across the border of the map visual, do you see any options across the border of the map visual? Do you see any options? Here, attention to detail is pretty important. Eye for detail is important. When I hover the mouse on the map visual, do you see any other options? Okay, good. You are seeing a filter data and you are also seeing some focus button. You're also seeing 3 dots, correct?
Yeah, behind average rating.
Good. Now I will ask you the same question again in another few more minutes. You will give me an answer. Now what I want you to do, everyone, is select the map visual first. Select the map visual. After you have selected the map visual, you have given the region, you have added the country. There is an option of city, right? I want you to bring the city and then drop it under the country in this portion. Select the map visual. After you have selected the map visual, what you will do is you will have to bring the city from the append1 table. You will bring the city and then drop it below the country. So country and then city. If possible, bring the locality as well. Bring the locality and drop it below the city as under the locality. So now the location should have country, city, and then locality. This is how it should look like, which I'm pasting on the chat window as well. If you have done this properly, then what I want you to do is to again, you don't need to hover the mouse, but then since you are on the selection mode now, can you see, do you see any extra additional features added onto the map? So you would have noticed that there are few arrow marks coming up onto this, correct? These options, what you see here, these are called drilling up, drilling down, and then go to the next hierarchy and then open the complete level. So the portion what you are adding here by country, city, and locality. Country is the first layer, city is the second layer, third is the locality layer. You are adding layers. The option of adding these layers within that option, this is called the hierarchy. In Power BI, this is called hierarchy. Now see, since I have added this portion, since I have added the portion, just watch the screen. What am I doing? When I select the bubble over here, do you see any changes are happening? Actually, no, only your data is changing. Or rather, if I select Asia here, you are seeing India. And then when I select anything over here, it is not even doing anything, just giving you the values, which is just like earlier. Am I right for now at this point in time? So now see what is happening. When I hover the mouse on the or when I select the map visual, there is this down arrow. This is called the drilling down. Now, initially, if you look at the drill down arrow, it is just an arrow mark, but with a white background. There is nothing on that. It's just like a switch on and switch off. When I switch on this, which means when I select this option and then keep it forever. Okay. Now this arrow mark is surrounded by a black background, which is there on the behind. This is what we call it as switch on the drill area. Now, what will happen with the switch on drill area? Lakshmi, you might ask me like, what is going to happen? Watch the screen now. I click on Asia. Now it's zoomed into the country. Now I'm going to talk about the specifically about the India location. When I hit on the border of India location, it is furthermore drilled down to the cities of India. Again, when I click on any one of the city of India, it is furthermore drilling down to the locality and then showing me the locality details as well. So what you are understanding here is you are showing the data based on the country, and then you are also showing on the city, and then you're also showing on the locality as well. If you have something more below the locality as well, you can add it. Otherwise around it will stop till locality. Now, if I go back and click on, let's say Oceania. Okay. First thing, it is stuck up with the drill portion. So when I click on the drill up, and again, when I click on the drill up, now when I click on the SAM, it is showing better. I clicked on the Brazil. it goes to the Brazil area. And if it under the city, it is showing me different ways. You might ask me like how we can have a drill up. Can we have the drill up, drill down as well switched on? Unfortunately, we don't have that option. But this drill up option will actually take you back to the layers one above the other, and then you can switch back to the Europe part. Or let's say if I go back to the United Kingdom, it will just go back to this portion and look at for Manchester. Let's say this is how it is showing you the drill up, drill down option. This is what we call it as the hierarchy in Power BI. And what about the next option that you have here, drill down? If I open everything, the drill down, this is how it looks like. Everything. But we don't want to expose everything to the audience so that they will lose the interest. They'll say like, what does this report look so clumsy? For that reason, we're actually keeping it in a better and simple portion so that people can play around with the continent and then country and then city and then down the line the locality as well and see what's happening. So give it a try and then see if you guys were able to play around with that and then looks better.
Shrikant, meanwhile, can you please show me the filters under visualization, location, legends further, please? Uh, no, visualization,
Okay,
because I missed few of the things, right? So, yeah. Now can you scroll up under legends? What else we have?
only country.
Okay. Latitude, nothing. Bubbles. Bubbles
Average
average
of the
of.
USD value. That
Okay.
USD column what
Tool.
you brought in, you will bring onto the average USD value.
Hold them, please.
No problem, Prashant. Anyways, you will have the recording on the later part. So furthermore, you can just go through the recording and then do it. Yes, Prashant, tell me.
Map select हो रहा है, but it is not going to the next level.
If you are not, have you switched on the drill button?
Yes, sir. I switched on the drill button.
So first do one thing, select all and then deselect all. First see
Okay.
the higher level number.
Okay.
Select any one of the continent.
Yeah.
First, is it filtering for the country?
Yes.
Click on the bubble of the country. It will drill down furthermore.
Okay. Yes, happening, sir. Correct.
If you again click on one of the bubble, it will drill down much more.
No, here it is not.
Because you
it is
might not
stuck.
have added the locality. You might not have added the
Stuck.
locality.
No, sir, there are locality added, but it is getting stuck. I think
Drill up one more time and then see.
it's stuck somewhere. It is slowly, it is moving after some time.
Maybe because of your power issues, Even it is not taking the
moving.
bandwidth properly, but it will drill down properly.
I think so. I think that is the issue, sir. Maybe it's
Yep.
very opening, very slow moving.
Yep.
Shrikant,
I
what
think,
do you
sir,
have under tooltips? Sorry.
Under the tool edits, I have just added the only count of the restaurant ID and average of the aggregate rating.
Uh, the thing is, Shrikant, actually, we have, bubbles at the top, right? The list of countries that have been shown earlier, that is
Mhm.
still with me. How to get rid of that? Like,
When you select the map, you will have to go to the format your visual. Under the format your visual, you will see the legend under the visual part. I simply switched off the visual. I mean, a legend.
yeah, got it. Done. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So for rest of the audience, I guess it is working fine. Now, what I want you to do is to create one more new page by click on this plus symbol, and first thing, rename this as home page. Create a new page and then rename it as homepage, and then slightly bring this homepage, drag it just before the map visual. Nothing to worry, just drag and drop it onto the before the map visual, and then come back to your visual part. You got it, everyone?
Yes, yes.
Okay, now see why I have added the images and what is the reason behind adding this image. Let's see. I'm selecting this guy here, this first guy here who is sitting with a on the scooter, and then I'm selecting this image. When I select the image, I have a style. Apart from the style, below that there is an option called action. I will switch on the action and expand the action here, and then say under the type, I will say go to the page navigation, and I'll under the destination, I will select the home page, and that is what I have done. And when I expand the tooltip, I'll mention the text. Click here to visit the home page. And with this, what will happen? If I hover the mouse on this particular guy, it will tell me the instruction like click here to visit the home page. If you try to click on that, it will not go to the home page now. Reason, in Power BI desktop version, anything you want to check the links or do anything, it is necessary and essential that you are going to use the control button. So hold the control button and then click on this guy. This will take you to the home page. And just check and let me know if this option is working for you guys. Is that working? Okay. But when you deploy this to the actual report Power BI server, the user doesn't need to require to hold the control button and do it anything. Just on the click of that image, it will take them directly to the home page. But since you're deploying or working on the remote desktop, I mean, on the desktop version of the Power BI, for you to check the links or do anything, you will always have to rely on the control button and then see it, so that you will able to see does it work fine or not. If everything is working fine, if everything is working fine, now you are good on this page. You don't need to do any kind of extra modifications on that and then just keep it aside. Furthermore, what I want you guys to do is you can right click on this map visual, and this will allow you to select a duplicate of it. When you right click here, you will see an option called duplicate. When you click on the duplicate, it will create a duplicate of map visual. Okay. Now that I'm going to cover, what I'm going to cover here is table or matrix table visual, table or matrix visual. Okay. So what I did is I made a copy of this map visual and made a rename of table and matrix. Now what I'm going to do is whatever the portion I am having here, everything right from the um, card visuals to the map visual, I'm selecting everything. I'm deleting this. I'm deleting the map visual, and I'm going to retain only this portion. I'm retaining this portion as it is because I'm expecting my entire report should have, if required, I'll keep the visuals. I mean, visuals are really required because that is what I'm expecting when you exactly publish the report. People can able to toggle to the very first page or go to any other page by using this kind of methodology. And wherever it is required, I'll keep the filters. Wherever it is not required, I'll not keep this region filters. So I'll just leave this portion as it is and clear only the above portion and keep my canvas clean so that I can continue further with my next portion of set portion of the visuals part. So do it and then keep it ready. Okay. Now let's look at this portion. I want you to guys to create the table. There is a table and matrix table. These are the major two visuals. Now in Power BI, these two visuals are like the similar visual. If you get into the table visual or matrix table, all the options, right from every small tiny option, both options remain the same across both the visuals. Got it? But look and feel wise, they're different. Look and feel wise, they're different. But the option wise, they are one and the same, exactly 100% matching between them. That's the first thing. Second thing, what is the difference between table and a matrix table? If I go back to the pivot table here as an example, what do you guys think? What kind of matrix pivot table is this? Like how many kinds of pivot tables you can see in a Excel? One is a pivot table that you will see. There is one more view of the pivot table. Do you guys have you ever used it? another view of the pivot table which have a different look and feel?
Which tabular form, compact form?
It's called classic pivot table. Have you
Okay.
heard of it?
Yes.
What is the difference between
Mm,
classic and pivot table?
Classic will have the detailed view.
Pivot table also have a detailed view.
When it comes to table.
Classic pivot table is a late legacy version where you will see this in the 2003 version. This is above 2003 or anything, you will see by default above 2003 version of Excel, you will see this kind of version of pivot table, this view of classic pivot table. Now just see, this is a above 2003 version, a simple pivot table. If I want to go back and then change the view of it, I will click on the pivot table, click on the options of the pivot table, and there is a display. There is an option called the pivot table classic.
Classic.
When I click on the
Yeah.
classic pivot table, this is how it looks like actually. Look at the difference between these two. Now, if I want to add a bit of portion of on this, I know I have to expand it a little bit, so that's fine. But this is the different view of both the cases. Okay. So the similar way, the table and matrix. Table visual looks here, makes your data feel like it's a table format. Matrix will actually give you the way of pivot table wise, like it comes in a grouping. Okay. Just take a look at this. What am I doing? When I select the matrix, and let's say I already have the region here, so I'll bring the country. Now this is a country portion. If I bring in the city over here, under the rows, how does it look like? First, it is giving you the first layer of country. When I expand this, it will give you the city. This is your regular pivot table, what you will see in your normal Excel sheet, correct? If I change this to the table view, see what is happening. It comes side by
Classic.
side.
Okay.
It's a classic one. It comes side by
Yeah.
side. If I click on the matrix, it will just group it and then show it.
Got it.
Understand?
Got it. Yeah.
That is the only look and feel between the both this visual, but rest everything is the same. I usually go with the table view because this gives me more information about it. Okay. So now let's look at this one. I'm using the table visual here. And then I'm expanding this table visual over till here. So let me keep it like this. Now I have got the country, I have got the city. I don't want to get inside the locality details, but for now, let's look at this one. Let's remove the city as well for a while. Let's keep only the country so that you will see what I'm talking about, and then we will take a call of the whether we can add the city or not. So just think what I have done is I've just brought in the table visual, added the country within that. Okay. Or let's do one thing. I'll remove the country as well. Let me bring only the city columns. Let me only bring the city on the table. Let it have a more data. And what I will do is I'll just reduce this little bit and then keep only certain portion over here. I'll reduce only certain portion, and I'll also keep this little bit down to make sure I'm only using this particular area, and I'll keep this portion on the left hand side free. So now I have added the table and added the city column and then just kept it aside. Now see, I'm going to bring I'm going to bring country onto the canvas, not onto the table. Outside the table, I'm bringing and putting onto the canvas. Now this will automatically show me in the this thing, right? World map, because I told you the country will automatically identify like that. Now that what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this visual, convert into the slicer, and then keep it left hand side like this, and select this country visual, format your visual, and I'll change this back to the tile, leave it like this, and now select this portion of region. Using the format painter, I'm quickly formatting the country value. Now you will see I don't need to spend too much time on this, but it is automatically giving me this option of selecting the country as well. See, since I have the blank, I'm just applying the same thing, like select everything and then unselect the blank and then put it aside so that I can see only the portion is updated. See how how did I arrange my data? You can ask me like why this arrow mark is coming up, because since we are having more info, when I click on the arrow mark, it will show me the rest of the countries. If I select Asia, now it will show the list of the countries from Asia, countries from Africa, Europe, like this. See how this is automatically changing everything. Right? Now save this file as it is. Once you save the file, like Control S, you will see the last saved on the top, very top, the file name and the last saved as today at 1:59 p.m. If you want, you can do a F12, like click on the file and click on the save as, and this will give you, I mean, I'm just, usually what I'll do is I want to see myself what is the difference between the day one and day two, so that this gives me a clarity like what I have learned on day one, how I progressed to the day two, like fourth day, how you will progress much more is what you will be able to look at that. Okay, so I've just saved the file for day two and then kept it aside, and I'll I'll keep a pause to the class since we are almost at 2 o'clock now. Before we wind up, you guys have any questions so far on anything?
No, I think this session was really good.
I hope now you are able to get the flavor of what exactly is a Power BI, what are the better versions that you are able to do it, and then getting a proper
Yes.
feel of it, right?
Yes. Shrikant, I just had one question. So this is all using the Excel data, right? We are getting all the data from Excel. Will you also be teaching importing from other data sources, from any
I will
other
not
data
be able
sources apart
to
from
I will not
Excel?
be able to teach it because
Mm-hmm.
the first problem is other than the Excel, you would be expecting any kind of a server. I don't have a server to connect to.
Correct.
But
If we
then
have it on our machine, can you guide us?
that I can do it pretty well.
Okay, great. Suppose if I want to get data from Azure DevOps, my area of work is not with Excel, it is with Azure DevOps. So I want to get data from Azure DevOps, all the queries and everything inside it, and then present it on a Power BI screen. Will you be able to help me with that?
Okay. By the next time you come back to the class, what I want you
Mm-hmm.
to do is,
Mm-hmm.
if you get onto the Power BI, you have the
Yeah.
get data, right?
Yes.
In this, if you go back to the more option,
Mm-hmm.
and if you are using Azure, you
Mm-hmm.
can type in over here on the Azure part and then see what are the different Azure application data connects it is giving you.
Yeah.
Select the appropriate server or the
Mm-hmm.
connector
Yeah.
and then click on that, and then it will take you to a page where it might ask you for a verifying your credentials, username and
Yes.
password.
Yes.
once you select on that, what will happen? This will take you directly back to a transform data. Matlab hai, or either you can get onto the transform data, click on the new source, and then use the same thing on the Azure part,
Hmm.
and then you can select it over here, connect to
Okay.
the proper server, log in your
Yeah.
credentials and everything. It will show you the list of the tables which are available in that particular server that you want to connect.
Okay.
So
I'll try that maybe.
yeah, so from there, like how I have created the queries, if you are
Hmm.
having multiple tables that you want to select all the tables that you want to bring in and then click on OK. What it will
Hmm.
do, it will import your data from Azure database into the Power Query. That is one option.
Okay.
Option number two, it will not import, but it will ask you, do you want to connect it and you don't want to import? Then what will happen? This Power Query will automatically go and connect to your Azure application
Hmm.
and take the live feed from there,
Yes.
which means your two options. Either you are importing the table from Azure to your Power Query and then you can do any cosmetic changes here onto the table.
Hmm.
If you are giving a direct connectivity over there, you will have to face a trouble sometimes because any changes that you do will be affecting onto the table there.
Okay. What if I don't want to affect anything on Azure DevOps, but just show? So I will only use the visual
You can just bring in the import. See,
port. Okay.
the reason why we have walked you through the Power Query on the day one, it's pretty simple to tell you in a high level language. If you think your tables are direct sources where you don't need to have any kind of transformation and cleaning is required and everything is in a proper way, it's only just that you need to connect the tables and then give a relationship directly
Hmm.
and build a visual. It's a direct case.
Okay.
If you don't think that will happen, but you will have to do some transformation and cleaning and then create a data model, then you can connect to the Azure table and then import the tables over here, and then you can start doing your own methodology of creating a new model. That's the
Okay.
difference.
Okay.
So next time you can give a try on this with the things, whatever you have learned so far. See if you're able to be a successful person. If not, I
Hmm.
can help you out on that on the next session part.
Awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Kashi, you guys have any questions?
No, it's a good session today. I will try it again. I need some practice.
No problem. I know it needs a
Yeah, yeah,
practice. How about you,
yes.
Revati? You're good?
Yes, Shrikant, but I don't know how the day two has been saved. Sorry, I missed that.
Go to the file and then you'll see the option called Save As.
Events, but it is not. Okay, done.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. You will have more and more visuals like this. I'm going to cover up all the visuals which is really required for your day-to-day activity and then which is more and more powerful. You will have a better way of looking at this Power BI. By the time at the last day of the class, you guys will be in a very good position that you will have enough confidence that you should be able to create your own reports. So you don't need to um, really worry about like how things are created or will be done. So this will be of very easy for you guys. So nothing to worry. Prabhas, you are there on the class?
Yes, I am right now. I was not there. Sorry. Tell me.
Okay, okay. No. I'm just looking at it's a 4-day session, 4 into 6, right?
Yes. No, 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 no.
Okay.
4 into 4.
4 into 4 only.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm just confused. We usually take a 24 session, right?
No, that's for the corporate, for the customized or tailor-made programs because they want to go for publishing and all those things, no? So in those cases.
Okay, guys, then from next week, what we will do is we'll gear up a little bit because I know the table will take a bit of time. After that, remaining everything should be better. So I'll cover up major portions on that so that you will have a better picture of every other visual, and I'll also give you kind of a homework so you can do your homework and then come back. Okay?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, and have a good day, rest of the day. and we'll catch up again on 18th. Okay.
Sure.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you, Shrikant. Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.